Back live at BC Place Stadium here in Vancouver. Steve Armitage, if you can hear me out in the field, you live in this city. As I said earlier, I don't know if you agree with me or not, but it has been an awful long time since we've had this kind of atmosphere in this building.
Brian, I haven't seen a crowd like this at BC Place Stadium since the 1980s. You know, this franchise began in 1954. They've always had great receivers. Three names come to mind: Jimmy Young, Merv Fernandez, and Darren Flutie. Now you can add the name of G. Roy Simon to that list. He has become the Lions' go-to big play receiver.
Simon, he one-hands it.
I just want the opportunity to catch a ball and make a play. I want the ball. I want to see it coming to me, regardless if there's 1, 2, 3 guys on me. I want that opportunity because that shows that, you know, the team can trust me.
G. Roy Simon has it, breaks a tackle, and is home free to the end zone.
Since joining the Lions in 2001 as a free agent from Winnipeg, Simon has totaled more than 4,300 yards receiving. This year at 1,750, he broke a club record set by Darren Flutie back in '94.
Flutie is a guy, he's been consistent for all the years that he played in the league, and you know, he was a productive player where, you know, he made a lot of plays. To have my name on top of his now, it's definitely a great feeling.
Scoring and records are important to number 81, but having that number recognized by a 3-year-old is even better.
JD, do you know who number 81 is?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Triangle. Triangle.
Keep your eyes open. Good job. If you don't have, you know, your family, you know, you're really missing out on a lot because you know, money and material things are nice and all, but when it comes to someone, you know, showing you love and showing you support, you know, that's the best gift that anybody can give you. You know, if you compare someone's family to a team, you know, they're basically, your teammates are basically your family away from home.
Steps up, throws, wide open, G. Roy Simon.
He's a CFL All-Star on a team loaded with individual talent, but the league's MVP trophy has eluded Simon so far.
G. Roy Simon, everybody.
That's Casey
the man. 4 TDs, oh baby. Boy, sweet, and boy, sweet.
When I think about it, a guy like Casey Printers and even last year with Dave Dickinson, those guys, I think they're probably more deserving of it than me because I'm dependent on them to get me the ball. So I just want to win a Grey Cup, you know, first. You know, we win a Grey Cup, then we can start worrying about other awards and things like that. And, you know, if we win that, everything else will work out.
In his last 2 games against the Riders, Simon had 9 catches for 146 yards. And in the last game here at BC Place Stadium, he caught the game-winning touchdown with no time remaining on that clock. And in that game, he broke Darren Flutie's heart. Brian.
Thank you, Steve. Can you believe that move Flutie put on that videotape?
Yeah, last night we saw him breaking down game tape. We thought he was getting prepared for today, but he was actually looking at tape of G. Roy Simon, just trying to contest some of his yards, I think.
All right, Saskatchewan coming out onto the field. Let's talk about the BC quarterbacks, the Lions. Casey Printer gets the start, but Dave Dickinson is healthy.
Well, I think Dave is ready to go, but I like what they're doing. Having Casey Printers come out there, he's kind of like the rabbit. He's going to get these guys moving from left to right, get them going all over the place. And then you bring in maybe Dave, who's like a surgeon, who's going to cut you up. So it's going to cause some problems for the Saskatchewan defense, and that's where they're going to have to see who comes in, when they come in, and how productive they are.
Well, Danny, you know, a teammate of yours, Joe Mumford, made that exact same observation. He says, you know, the problem with Casey Printers is he gets you in there, you're chasing him up and down the field, sideline to sideline, your tongue's hanging out, and then all of a sudden, when you're just totally worn out, you're used to that, in comes Dave Dickinson, and now that you're up flat-footed, he's picking you apart, throwing underneath, going into the zones, and you're in big trouble.
I can't believe we all agreed. It's amazing, but absolutely, you know, as a defensive player, you get used to broken plays because a lot of the plays that BC is going to have success with Casey Printers is after those 2-3 seconds when everything is broken down. And as a defensive player, you get into that habit, and then all of a sudden you change the pace, bring Dave Dickinson in. It's a completely different ballgame.
What about this BC offensive line? This is a good story, in particular when you talk about the two quarterbacks.
Well, the good quarter, because the sacks is the big thing. You look at it, I think they had 54 sacks as a ball club. Now you're going against the #1 team that's 4 sacks, Saskatchewan. They tie with Hamilton this year, sacks. That's going to be a big battle. These guys are going to have to make some movements up front, keep Saskatchewan away from their two quarterbacks.
Now, I know you don't like to get sacked. Millie doesn't get sacked, but he's saying, oh, come on, sacks are overrated.
Well, it's funny, you know, Danny Barrett actually said BC should be lucky with the amount of sacks they have. They should have 70 because Casey Prinoz has made a lot happen to escape sacks. But I really have to give credit to Dan DiRaggio, the Lions offensive line coach. He's managed to take a disparate bunch of guys and keep them consistent week in and week out so that they can keep making plays.
Greg, at the top of the show, you talked about sitting Dante Booker, a defensive lineman, by Wally Buono for an extra defensive back. Elaborate on it, and what do you think?
Yeah, interesting move. The last time that they played, you would think that Saskatchewan is rushing the ball with I formation, these sorts of things, but they are very spread out. Last game and through the season, they have brought in 6 receivers, and what they were getting was great matchups with their receivers on their linebackers, and Wally Buono felt that they were outmanned. And so what he has done is he's going to be bringing in 6, 7 defensive backs. He needed more depth. That's why he made the move, took a defensive lineman off, brought a defensive back on in Tony Walker.
Now, we talk about BC's vaunted passing attack. You know, look at the statistics. Antonio Warren's got 1,100 yards rushing, same as Kenton Keith just about. Warren could be a big factor in this game.
And I think Warren is going to be a big factor in this game, Brian. He's one of those guys who is sort of, as you mentioned, overshadowed with the receiving core. But the reason why the receiving core is able to be so good is because Antonio is so good. He comes in and consistently gives them that 5 yards, can give them second and short situations, which allows the receivers to go deep downfield and have the defense sucking up trying to stop the run.
And on top of what Sean was saying, what Antonio also gives you takes some pressure off the offensive line. Those guys for Saskatchewan are pinning their ears back to go after the quarterback. If Antonio's running the ball, now they got to look around and say, does Antonio have it? I can't go after Casey or Dave. I got to look for the running back. He's going to be a big key.
Danny, good to have you with us. We'll be back at halftime. We'll step aside. Up next, Mark Lee, Darren Flutie, and Steve Armitage with a play-by-play as the BC Lions come onto the field at BC Place Stadium.
A crowd estimated at 55,000 fans assembling at BC Place Stadium for possibly the most anticipated West Division championship in a decade.
We the champs around here. We the champs. Oh no, you know what's about to happen now.
Live from BC Place Stadium in Vancouver, the front-running BC Lions meet the Saskatchewan Roughriders in the West Division Championship. There hasn't been a football game this big in BC since the 1994 Grey Cup when the Lions beat Baltimore. This city gripped with playoff fever, the Rider Nation with fans in every city also well represented here today. 2 teams, 1 game from the Grey Cup. Good afternoon, I'm Mark Lee along with Darren Flutie, and among the matchups, this game will feature today Saskatchewan's #1 rushing attack in the CFL against BC's #1 rated run defense. And how about this, Kenton Keith saying this week, now that we've got our offense down to a T, nobody can stop us.
Well, you nailed it. Kenton Keith is the difference maker. He's back. He didn't play 2 weeks ago in the season finale. This guy is an exceptional. running back. I mean, he's a game breaker. He can get it done all on his own. Couple that with the talented big guys they have up front. They've averaged over 140 yards rushing per game. And as Danny Barrett puts it, this is the heart and soul of our football team, the running game.
How about the development this week? BC, the #1 run defense, taking a key player off the roster in the biggest game of the year.
Yeah, great touchdown in pregame. Dante Booker started all 18 games along the defensive line. He's off the roster. Tony Walker, the extra defensive back, is on the roster. What Coach Bono is saying is hey, listen, we can stop the run. We've done it before against you guys. We've only let up 75 yards rushing per game. And it's interesting because this is another reason for Danny Barrett and the Riders to feel a little bit disrespected.
All right, Darren, the run game, just one of the big matchups this afternoon. What else have you got for us in your Gillette game notes?
Well, the Gillette game notes today, as we look at them, offensively for Saskatchewan, just what we talked about. They're born to run. It's who they are. It's their personality going to have to run the football. Defensively for the Riders today, KC and the Sunshine Band. They got to stop Casey Printers and the receivers for the BC Lions. Got to shut them down today. On the flip side, for the BC Lions offensively, the Warren Commission. Antonio Warren hasn't had a big game against the Riders this year. He's looking to have that game today. Defensively for the Leos, down on the corners. They've been looked at all year as maybe the weak part of the defense. Matt Dominguez had 2 touchdowns in the season finale against Marsh. Can they do that today against the cornerbacks of the BC Lions? And that is our Gillette game notes.
At one point this year, Saskatchewan was 4-8 in what looked like a lost season. But winning 6 of the past 7, Danny Barrett's Roughriders are the hottest team in the CFL. Back to the West Division Championship for the 2nd year in a row. Wally Buono took Calgary to the division final 11 times in 12 years from 1990 to 2001. Now he's back with his first place Lions. He's got experience on his side. His Lions are 6-point favorites to win today. Paul McCallum will kick off. The Lions winning the coin toss, and they want the football right away. Aaron Lockett back to return. Don't forget, he ran the opening kickoff right back for a touchdown, 90 yards against Saskatchewan 2 weeks ago in the final game of the season.
Lockett's another one of these guys. He's a game breaker, you know, at any point, and special teams always plays a big role in these playoff football games, and he's a guy, another guy that can be a difference maker out here today.
And that goes back also to the story of Dante Booker coming off, Tony Walker coming on. Buono looking for more speed in special teams cover today. Paul McCallum kicks off the West Division Championship. And it's Antonio Warren at his 10-yard line, straight up the hash marks, driving his way across the 35-yard line. A 25-yard return for the big running back. Casey Printers, the young man who has stirred this league, coming from 3rd string in training camp to the West Division nominee for most outstanding player. He gets the start. Dave Dickinson in the wings should BC need him to come off the bench. The first playoff start for Casey Printers. He'll start in the shotgun with 4 receivers to the wide side. Play action. Quick pass. Roy Simon is blocked by Santino Hall just as he caught the football for a loss of about 5.
Well, here's a great defensive play by the Saskatchewan secondary. They're so reactive. They read the lineup. They read the formations. He saw this coming, Santino Hall. Boy, and no one got a piece of him. That's not how you want to start the game if you're Roy Simon. But one good thing, he's got his first hit, so he's ready to roll.
Santino Hall, the rookie out of Texas Southern, takes on the league's #1 receiver in the opening play of the game, and he wins that match. It's a loss of 4. 2nd and 14. Here's pressure. Printers gets away. He rolls to the wide side, throwing deep, wide open. Felwell's got it. Ryan Felwell turns on the Jets. He's gone. Touchdown, BC.
You know, so much has been talked about this BC offensive line and them taking 55 sacks this year, but as you can see, Printers can make it happen on his own. The pocket started to collapse, didn't look like anything was there. He avoids the rush, throws the touchdown to Thelwell. What an amazing start to this football game.
Point after is good. Ryan Thelwell, after a career year, has a career start here in the West Finals.
Well, you see Casey you see the pocket start to compact in on him. So he steps up as opposed to trying to run around the rush. And when he steps up, then the defensive backs start to react because he's a threat to run the football himself. And then the receivers come open. Thelwell came open down the sideline, and I mean, that's as easy as it gets, but that's a lot of hard work by your quarterback, Casey Printers, to make that happen.
Printers so dangerous when he breaks contain, as we saw there. Ryan Thelwell, 78 yards, wide open to the end zone, and it's 7-0 BC.
Yeah, it's just important to remember, because as they see Casey Printers step up, you know he's such a threat, and the defensive backs know that. They want to come up and make that tackle, and that's when he stops, sets, and he'll throw the ball to the open receiver.
Thelwell had a great year. Season high, career high numbers, 909 yards receiving and 6 touchdowns. Well, what a start as Corey Holmes goes back and gets set to return the kickoff from Duncan O'Mahony. And it's Neil Hughes at his own 20, the Canadian rookie, makes a move, gets outside across the 40, still on his feet, and finally driven into the BC bench just shy of the 50-yard line. Good return as we turn back the clock 2 weeks ago. This was the scene, the last regular season game between these two teams, and it's Aaron Lockett, the opening kickoff of the football game, racing 90 yards down the sideline for the touchdown.
You know, and it's funny because that could demoralize a lot of football teams, a touchdown on the first series or the first return like Lockett had. But all Saskatchewan has to do is say, hey, 2 weeks ago we went through this. We played this football game, the same thing happened. So this is a team that'll come back out and say, hey, let's just play our football game, do what we game plan to do, and we'll get back in the game, no problem.
Now Henry Burris to answer back. Last week in the West Division semifinal, he was statistically low, 15 of 28 for 158 yards, but he was an opportunist, throwing 2 touchdown passes when those opportunities presented themselves.
Yeah, he really took advantage of the fake punt, scored a touchdown right away, so he was very opportunistic.
And now it's deafening inside this stadium. Burris with the silent count. He'll hand off. Kenton Keith breaks the tackle and is just shy of the center field stripe for a gain of 7 on his first carry.
Well, the offensive lineup for Saskatchewan in the backfield, you got to watch Kenton Keith. The first run says it all. He's electrifying. He's going to be a huge factor today. The receivers, I like Matt Dominguez on the cornerbacks, especially Marsh. He had 2 touchdowns in the season finale. Up front, I think Fred Childress is just a huge acquisition for them late in the year, and that is a great offensive line, best in the league.
Second down and about 3.5. Riders, of course, without their veteran, Travis Moore. They'll stay on the ground again. No way! Kenton Keith can't get away. Brent Johnson, the Western All-Star, wraps him up, and Saskatchewan will punt.
Nice job by Brett Johnson. I mean, he's known for his sacks, has 10 on the year, but here he's in the open field with Kenton Keith. I just said an electrifying runner, but not to Johnson. He took him down, and now they got to punt it away on 3rd and 5.
Paul McCallum standing inside his 40 with an average this year of 39.9 in punts. Lockett and Cotolo back to return for BC. McCallum angling it to Lockett near the sideline. Doubling back now inside the 15, and he won't get anywhere. Losing yardage on the play as Walter Spencer makes the tackle. A celebration early for BC as they score first. Welcome back to BC Play Stadium as the BC Lions go on offense for the 2nd time. And I'll tell you what, Casey Printers builds excitement Mike Beamish of the Vancouver Sun writing this week, goosebumps are this year's fashion statement for Lions fans. He may be the most exciting player in the CFL. Play action out of the backfield. Lyle Green gets the flat pass and is hit quickly for a gain of 5 at the 20.
Well, BC's offensive lineup, you look at the backfield, I think you got to talk about Casey Printers. You saw what he could do early with the pass to Thelwell, avoiding the rush. Receivers for the BC Lions, it's a talented group, but of course G. Simon, who broke my single season receiving record this year, talented. Claremont, very talented. And here's a banged up group, and Bobby Singh playing with the torn right bicep. They've got a lot of work cut out for them today.
2nd and 5, Printers is sacked. Terrell Jeriniak, and what a story he's been. 8 sacks in 4 games this season. There's his 9th, coming on to replace Lamont Bryant with just 3 games to go in the regular season.
Well, right on cue, I talked about the O-line being banged up, and Freddie Moore just gets bowled over, and that's how he gets the sack. They got to firm that up front.
Yes, this Saskatchewan team tied with Hamilton, leading the league in sacks this year with 49. 19 sacks in the past 4 games against the BC Lions alone.
Yeah, and the Lions have let up 55 sacks this year, and a lot of people think if it weren't for Printers, it would be more like 70 sacks.
O'Mani from his goal line hammers a low punt, and Corey Holmes has it at the 45, breaks a tackle, heads up through the thick, and he's got a big return there. Tremendous field position. A 12-yard return, and Jeriniak savoring his first sack of this football game. A team that had 4 sacks 1 week ago against Jason Moss and the Edmonton Eskimos. Powerful front 4 that really puts pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah, and they're playing back-to-back teams that have struggled along the offensive line. Edmonton had a lot of injuries, and the Lions have had injuries. But boy, the defensive line for the Riders have played extremely well. They played well last week. Looking good today.
Saskatchewan starting this drive on the BC 33. They'll pass. Hitch pass. Matt Dominguez in traffic. And amazingly, Brent Johnson's all the way over there to make the tackle on the boundary. Let's check the BC starting defensive lineman.
Defensively for the Lions, we've gotten a good look at him already. But along the defensive line, you look at Johnson, had 10 sacks on the season, and like you said, he's flying around today. The fans have got him all jacked up. Barrett Simpson and Kidd had a lot to say this week in the media once he started talking with Shivers. And here's the secondary. You got to look at the corners. Marsh and Young, they're going to be tested today by Dominguez.
Yes, Marsh and Young, the rookies who were burned early but have settled down. Here comes the blitz. Burris rolls right, throws. It's complete to Dominguez. Saskatchewan has a first down across the 20.
Boy, this is a nice job by Henry Burris, but look at the left tackle. See if this isn't a little bit of a hold there as he races around, but Burris gets out of the pocket, finds his big target. Dominguez is a big guy, and they pick up the first down.
Matt Dominguez back from the NFL. Big game against BC the last week of the season. 118 yards and 2 touchdowns. First down, Saskatchewan in the red zone. Handoff to Kenton Keith, and there's nowhere to go. A scat back who GM Roy Shivers said could run for 200 yards against this BC defense is halted across the goal line, and it's Cam Legault making the tackle for BC.
Yeah, watch along the front. Cam Legault's responsibility is really just to fill up the gaps, and he does it right there. He's just filling up the gaps for the linebackers to make the play, but he reaches out one of those big meat hooks and grabs Kenton Keith. Now, early in this game, Kenton hasn't been breaking these 1 tackles that we usually see him break.
Saskatchewan in a 6-receiver set. Second down. Burris under pressure, throwing to the end zone, wide open. Corey Grant, touchdown, Saskatchewan. Wide open. 18 yards, and Grant's got his 2nd playoff touchdown of the season.
Well, Corey Grant is on fire, but he's uncovered on this one. It's a great play call. They have 4 receivers to the left side of the formation. 2 of them go towards the post, and Corey Grant goes out towards the corner, and the BC defensive backs make a mistake. They leave him alone. Boy, that's it. You know, it looks so easy. That's a tough catch, but very important for Saskatchewan to answer back to the Thelwell touchdown.
Corey Grant, 18 yards. Last week, his touchdown, a big one against Edmonton. One that Danny Barrett called a redemption touchdown because it was Grant who dropped a touchdown pass in the Western Division Championship 1 year ago.
You know, you've got to give Marcel Belfay a lot of credit. I mean, scoring down in the red zone has become very tough against a team like the BC Lions, but here he incorporates that 4-receiver set and they get the touchdown.
There's no infraction on the play.
Corey Grant excited there. His Wilfrid Laurier Golden Hawks defeating McMaster yesterday. Moving on in the Final Four in the CIS playoffs. The point after is good. And so Henry Burris answers back. And we're all tied at 7 here early in the first quarter. Corey Grant doing a radio interview on the sidelines. He missed 7 games this year with an injury, but what a great playoff.
Yeah, here's a matchup they'll take any day. There's the 3 defensive backs. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 receivers. I think I'll take that matchup any day if I'm Henry Burris, and let's see how it develops. Corey Grant is the furthest one, closest to the quarterback. Just nobody covered him. There's 4 receivers, 3 defensive backs.
So
you do the numbers, Mark.
2 huge breakdowns in the secondaries to open this football game.
Right. Nerves play a factor.
McCallum hammers this kickoff to Antonio Warren at his 13-yard line. Warren at full speed ahead, breaking tackles, bulldozing his way close to the 45-yard line. 31-yard return. As we check the anatomy of the Saskatchewan scoring drive. Burris getting away from pressure, throwing to Dominguez for a first down. Then under pressure again, wide open, finding Corey Grant for the touchdown to tie it at 7. Dominguez, a huge addition to this football team during that winning streak, the final 6 games of the season. A bunch formation for BC. Printers can't find his first read. Now rolling, throwing deep for Chris Brazel. There's a battle for it. Brazel goes up and drops it. Brazel and Davin Bush, one-on-one.
Coach Barato had mentioned before the game today that he thought their bunch formation, their tight end formations would give the Riders a lot of trouble, but they covered it well here. Again, Printers has to improvise and just makes a good play, throws it up to a talented receiver that, hey, one-on-one, sometimes you have a chance to make this play. But a nice defensive play by Davin Bush to knock it away.
Well, Chris Brazel has been a big play receiver for BC against Saskatchewan this year. 2 games, 220 yards, 2 touchdowns, an average of 30 yards a catch. 2nd and 10, BC. Here comes the blitz on Printers. The ball's away, and it's complete. And it's Brazel with the first down.
Wow, that is a great throw under pressure by Casey Printers. Watch, he doesn't have both feet on the ground. He's falling backwards almost, about to get hit, and he zips that thing into Brazel, who was actually well covered by Edwards on the play.
Wally Buono
by
told me earlier this week, Darren, excuse me, that the accuracy of Printers has been night and day since 1 year ago. Here's Antonio Warren up the gut, huge hole. Another first down. 21 yards.
A good balance of play calling by the BC Lions. Good job up front, and watch towards the end of the run. Number 81, a great block on Morgan to allow Warren to go for 10 more yards and get the ball down to the 25-yard line.
Warren with 4 100-yard games this season. 1,136 yards. One of 6 running backs over 1,000 this year in the CFL. Printers with lots of protection now. Loading up, throwing downfield. It's intercepted. Santino Hall has picked off Printers for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. The first turnover goes to Saskatchewan. Santino Hall with his first playoff interception.
Well, a big play, and I want you to watch Jason Claremont right here as the play develops, and watch Casey Printers. He could throw it to him and have a 5-6 yard completion, but what Casey Printers has run into for problems is he's holding on to the ball. He wants to make the big play, wants to throw the touchdown pass, and that got him in trouble on that play.
Top field position, first down, Saskatchewan on their own 3. They'll stay on the ground. Kenton Keith running over top of Tugbenyo for a gain of about 3, maybe 4 yards. And there's some talk going on, not much talk this week before the game as Danny Barrett put the gag on his team, but these two teams, no love lost.
No, and at this point in the football game, the butterflies are gone, and they're just playing football, and this is where it's going to start to get fun. You know, a couple early mistakes as we see Kenton Keith come out of the game. Corey Holmes check in on passing downs.
2nd and 7. 6 defensive backs in for BC. 6 receivers set for Saskatchewan. Burris throws hard. It's complete. And a first down to Matt Dominguez, holding on and staying in bounds.
Well, this is a matchup, obviously, the Riders want to go after. It's Dominguez on Marsh. He's got one-on-one. It's well covered, but watch Marsh at the end of the play fall down. Nice concentration by Dominguez.
Wow.
Keeps, just for a bonus, he keeps both feet instead of just 1 foot. Nice catch, nice throw.
13-yard gain. Dominguez torched Marsh for 2 touchdowns on October 30th. 6-pack is still in. They'll stay on the ground this time, and Holmes will be used as a running back. Corey Holmes, who, what a spiritual man and what a terrible tragedy he suffered just before that October 30th game when his girlfriend had a car accident down in the United States and lost their unborn son, who was just 2 weeks from the due date. Holmes went to the funeral, came back and played in that football game for the Roughriders. And he says he carries that unborn child right here in his chest. First down, Saskatchewan. Burris, 4-man rush. He's got lots of time. Across the middle, it's complete to Corey Grant. He turns on the Jets, gets another first down. Still going. Finally, the Lions take him out of bounds.
Let's need you gentlemen, please.
Corey Grant, who was a backup and a bit player this year because of the hamstring problems, a feature receiver early.
Yeah, he's coming up big here early. And again, it's hitting the underneath route, the dump off, and look what he does afterwards. Hey, Corey Grant has experience in big games. Matter of fact, right here, the 99 Grey Cup, he was a starting receiver for the Ticats. He's been here, done this, and boy, the last 2 weeks, he's making some big plays.
Saskatchewan digging out of tough field position. Burris 5 for 5 in the air. Back to pass again to the wide side. It's complete. Karsten Bailey goes up for it. Sam Young makes the tackle. And that'll be a gain of about 4. Karsten Bailey, the rookie out of Auburn, had to go up high, and that ball hung for a while.
Yeah, it did hang up there, but we talk about the 2 corners of the BC Lions. And I got to say, Sam Young has actually played very well this season. He has 5 interceptions. I think the corner you really want to look at is Dante Marsh. He's the one that has struggled at times.
Everybody talking about this vaunted Saskatchewan running game, but Burris, in 2 games against BC, has passed for nearly 700 yards and 6 touchdowns. 2nd down, 7, there's trouble. Burris tries to throw the screen. It's incomplete, intended for Kenton Keith. And the Riders will punt. Burris looking for a call from Glenn Johnson. Perhaps that Keith was obstructed on the play.
Well, it's a screen play, and the offensive linemen are supposed to block 1-1,000, 2-1,000. But boy, Gene Mikowski just doesn't get enough of Johnson coming off the end there, and he's in too quick. And Keith is all tied up along the D-line with Ty Williams holding him, so there was really just no play. They snuffed out the screen pass.
The dangerous Aaron Lockett, rookie plucked off of Ottawa's practice roster earlier this year, set to return. This punt from McCallum, a beauty, deep, driving Lockett back to his 20-yard line, coming to the wide side, and the Riders cover that one. A 49-yard punt is just a 1-yard return.
Closed captioning of this program is brought to you by Standard Life. Keeping our word is standard.
Back at BC Place, the Lions set to go on offense, and although that drive stalled for Saskatchewan, they got themselves out of tough field position when they started on their own 3.
Yeah, when you're at your own 3, all you want to do is get at least 1 first down and then punt it away, get out of trouble.
Printers, hitch pass. Thelwell again, breaking tackles, shoddy tackles, and a first down for BC.
Boy, it's the depth of the receiving core here, and it's just a quick screen. And you think you get Brazo out there out in front of him with a nice block, then Thelwell does the rest. I mean, you talk G. Simon, Jason Claremont, but then there's Thelwell, there's Brazo, there's Catolo. There's so many options offensively.
On the ground, Antonio Warren is hard to bring down on that first down carry. And he'll move the ball across the 45-yard line for a gain of 7.
And Antonio Warren is one of those weapons that they have offensively. I mean, he's a great runner. He's got the speed to get outside, and yet he can slash inside. And I mean, he's a great blocker. He's just a guy that is all around, can do it all. And those are the backs that Coach Bono likes.
2nd and 3, there's pressure. Printers running for his life. Gets outside. He'll have the first down and more. So dangerous when he breaks contain.
Yeah, it's really nice when the play breaks down, as this one breaks down. The route he was looking for weak side wasn't there, so he just tucks it and says, hey, I got to take off. And when you have the athletic ability of Casey Printers, you can turn nothing into something, and it's a big first down.
Lions in a no-huddle offense, attempting to wear down that Saskatchewan defensive line. Play action now. Printers under pressure again. Escapes. Buying time. Throws deep. Incomplete. There's contact as Brazel goes down with Davin Bush. No flag.
Boy, there's a couple things on this play. Again, we're seeing the improvisation of Casey Printers. I thought Davin Bush hit the receiver early, but geez, watch Nate Lewis take a shot at the end of this play. And here we have Nate right here. Watch his hit at the end. Ah! I don't know. 1-step, 2-step, a little bit late. A little bit to the head. And then on the other end, Bush, I thought, hit the receiver early. But hey, they let him go.
2nd and 10. And so Alondra Johnson, the decorated veteran, in a 3-4 front for Saskatchewan. They come again with the blitz. Printers breaks away. They get him from behind. Reggie Hunt and David Benefield combined to bring him down.
Richie Hall in this defense, they basically bring someone on every play. And here they bring Hunt and they bring a linebacker, and it's never the same look. So the offensive line doesn't know how to block it. Printers tries to do an escape, but when you're not facing the same look and yet it's pressure every play, it's very tough to protect against that.
Reggie Hunt with his 7th sack of the year, the leading tackler for Saskatchewan this year, a loss of 7. And so O'Mani will have to punt. Corey Holmes back for Saskatchewan. And O'Mani doesn't get the play away as they whistle it down. And it looks like a time count violation. Claims he can't hear himself think out there. And it's not that noisy when BC's over the ball.
Time count violation. BC number 7 for peak 3rd down.
It's really not that big of a call. It moves it from the 54 back to their own 51. I mean, now instead of going for a corner kick and trying to pin them down, you can just kind of let it go, make them feel the punt inside the 10.
Corey Holmes, the CFL all-purpose yards leader this year, more than 2,700. He's got a punt return for a touchdown this year. But has been a lethal scoring position in this league. O'Mani with time, spiraling it to the near sidelines and out of bounds. There will be no return as the quarter ends. A 37-yard punt and all kinds of fireworks to open this West Final. Belleville first, Grant second, and we're tied at 7.
The Tragically Hip begin their Canadian tour tonight at GM Place, not too far from here. Rob Baker, you're the featured group at the Grey Cup game next week in Ottawa. Where does that fit in the list of events that you've done down through the years?
Well, it's a total thrill and an honor, you know, to be part of a great made-in-Canada tradition. I've grown up watching the Grey Cup all the years, touring across Canada in the fall. We always have a big Grey Cup party. It's, you know, and to be there, it's going to be mind-blowing for us. A real thrill.
Rob, you guys are based out of Kingston. Who do you root for in the Grey Cup?
Since I was a kid, I've always been a Lions fan. Jim Young, Queen's graduate. I love to follow where the Queen's graduates go. Jock Climby, Tom Dennison. So,
Rob, thanks for this. Good luck on the tour.
It's my pleasure. I'm honored to be here. It's a thrill.
Guys.
Thank you, Steve. I know Darren and Doug and the Flutie Brothers Band are big fans of the Tragically Hip.
Love the Tragically Hip. Great band.
You check the first quarter numbers?
Yeah, see the first quarter numbers. They're big. Boy, passing yards for BC, 117. That one turnover as they were going in is a big factor. But, hey, the most important thing is it's 7-7, and we got a great football game going here.
Corey Holmes with an 8-yard gain. He's kind of like a Thomas Haskins hybrid receiver running back. That's who he modeled himself after when he came into the league 4 years ago. Handoff up the middle. Chris Sarka, they had him at the line of scrimmage. Otis Floyd looks like he needs some help. He missed 3 of the last 4 games with a bad case of turf toe, and he's in some difficulty here.
That's not good for the Lions, but boy, they had Chris Sarka, the Riders, in at running back on that play. Kenton Keith not in, Corey Holmes set as a receiver. Floyd makes the play here. He's untouched. He just untouched, no one blocking him, comes down hard, makes a great tackle on Sarka, but it looks like a burner. When you get that right to your shoulder and down your neck, it's what they call a burner, and it's just basically the nerves along your neck and shoulder saying, hey, I give up.
That would be a tough loss for the BC Lions as they help Otis Floyd off. Bill Rochelle and the training crew taking him off under his own steam, but it does look like a shoulder, and the linebackers have really been the backbone of this BC defense. Yeah,
they got some great linebackers for run defense, but boy, when they get Kidd in a situation where he has to cover, that's something the Riders look to exploit. But if it is a burner with Otis Floyd, it's one of those things you can come off maybe 5 minutes or so, and it'll come back, and you'll be able to come back into the game. Of course, I'm guessing at the injury at this point.
Otis Floyd, regarded as one of the best athletes on that BC team. They say he can kick the 9-foot ceiling in the dressing room and land on his feet. Here's McCallum punting to the sideline, but he won't get it out. Aaron Lockett at his 38 gets some blocks and is hammered as he gets to the 45. A 7-yard return. He's a genius whose telephone invention was just the beginning. Is Alexander Graham Bell, the greatest Canadian? CBC's Evan Solomon makes his case Monday at 8 on CBC television. Remember, you can vote for any of the top 10 nominees at cbc.ca/greatest.
I'm still trying to think how someone can kick the ceiling 9 feet up and land on their feet.
It's pretty amazing.
It is.
You didn't know that Canadians invented the telephone, did you?
I did know that.
And there you go.
I'm going to log in and vote for that. Maybe not him, though.
Play action again. Printers hammers it at Claremont. Claremont breaks the tackle on Jackie Mitchell, then gets some support. And he'll have a short gain of 3 yards in the play.
This is Jason Claremont on Jackie Mitchell, and this is a matchup where I know Coach Barato and Wally Bono think they can take advantage of. They don't think Jackie Mitchell can cover their receivers and a guy like Jason Claremont.
Claremont with a career year, 1,220 yards receiving, and he is the Western nominee for top Canadian. 2nd down and 7. Here comes the blitz again. Printers is in trouble. Juriniak's got him again. Terrell Juriniak.
Well, Juriniak is having a field day against Freddie Moore, and we talked about the problems along the offensive line, but Freddie Moore is just not getting enough of Juriniak, making him look like an all-Canadian football player today. Got to protect your quarterback. I knew that would be something to focus on coming into this game. I mean, Casey Printers or Dave Dickinson are great throwers, but if you don't have time to throw the football, you're not going to get anything done.
Well, the Lions gave up 54 sacks this year. Danny Barrett said it should have been more like 70. Wally Buono was downplaying the value of a quarterback sack, but how about Terrell Juriniak now in 5 games, 10 quarterback sacks. Holmes out of bounds, and again, the Lions wary of the return. Put it out of bounds. Terrell Juriniak, the sophomore out of Missouri, with 2 sacks here in the first half, and the O-line's got to regroup for BC.
Yeah, Freddie Moore and Bates are having trouble. Watch these 2 guys right here. They're going to run a little twist here on defense, a little cross, and watch the problems it's giving him. He shoots right through there, and Kelly Bates doesn't get out quick enough. And like I said, Richie Hall is showing him something different every play, and they're really struggling with it.
Juriniak now has 5 sacks in 5 quarters against BC. Burris, a look in, it's complete to Matt Dominguez, and the big receiver crashes across the first down marker with his 4th catch of the first half.
Yeah, Marsh has to respect Dominguez. I mean, he lit him up last game, and here it's just a quick 3-step drop, hit him on a slant, pick up 10, 12 yards, and move the sticks. I mean, they seemingly could do this all game, and then when Marsh finally comes up, go for the big one.
Dominguez hurt his right knee last week in the semifinal, and he's sucking it up today. First down on the ground. Kenton Keith can't find the daylight. And they stack him up again. And Carl Kidd's instigating in the pileup.
Yeah, true to form, the BC Lions are stopping the run. That's what they did all year. They're a great run defense. Carl Kidd's a big part of that. So we haven't seen Kenton Keith have the big day yet that he was hoping for, but we have seen Saskatchewan move the ball through the air with Henry Burris.
Well, something's got to give. Look at this, the rushing attack. Number 1, 139 yards, but almost half that allowed per game by the defense.
It's the best against the best.
Second down and 9, movement, Brent Johnson, and there's a flag on the play. And Charles Thomas is enjoying that one. He says it'll come against the BC Lions.
Well, we saw Johnson go offsides, obviously, but...
Offside, BC number 97.
You're only supposed to stop the play if it's a threat to the quarterback. If he doesn't touch anyone, he should be able to get back like he was trying to do and stay on sides. Ball hasn't been snapped. No, he doesn't touch anyone. He's going to get back. That is the wrong call. I'll go out on a limb. That's the wrong call. It's small. It's 5 yards, but hey.
Johnson turned Thomas into a turnstile on October 30th. That'll be a matchup today. More movement and another flag. And it looks like Gene Mikowski, who was shaken up earlier in the game, was the first to flinch along the line of scrimmage.
Well, a little bit of justice here. I think there was the wrong call before.
Procedure, Saskatchewan number 60. Repeat second down.
It is the West Division Lineman of the Year.
Yeah, you see Gene at the right-hand side at left tackle, just going a little bit early before the snap, evening things out with the offsides on Johnson the play before, so now we're back to second and 10.
The Riders, though, more concerned with that weak side attack of Brent Johnson against Thomas. Here he comes again. Burris loads it up, throwing deep downfield for Bailey. He's got it. No! He thought he had the catch.
Saskatchewan trying to take advantage of these cornerbacks, and you're right. Boy, Johnson comes around the end very quickly, but Burris gets it off, gives Bailey a chance, a little pushing off. Looks like he makes that catch.
Looked like a catch.
Can't see from that side.
Wow, he may have been robbed of a spectacular effort. And so the Riders will have to punt. Karsten Bailey, the rookie out of Auburn, not happy. McCallum with a beautiful spiral deep. Lockett driven back to his 10-yard line. Aaron Lockett now sidesteps, and Walter Spencer, the #1 tackler on special teams, is right there for Saskatchewan. Karsten Bailey robbed here in BC. Karsten Bailey on the Saskatchewan bench, still brooding, but we've got another angle which may support.
Yeah, if any of this ball touches the ground, it's incomplete. Keep going. Yeah, that touched the ground. We give the refs a hard time so often. That is a great call.
First down, KC Printers and the Lions with their own 19. Pitch out, Antonio Warren with some escorts, tries to cut upfield, and is hammered as he crosses the 23 for a gain of about 5. Warren had that big game against the Argos 5 weeks ago, 144 yards, but he hasn't been over 100 since.
Yeah, this looks like the old student body right. You got 3-4 guys in front. He has some room, but it's a good job of contain as they come up and don't let him get outside. Turn him back in to where you have help with the linebackers.
Wally Buono was hinting we'd see a lot of Warren today. Here comes the blitz. Ball is away and complete. Roy Simon. First down, BC. The league leader in receptions.
Well, last week out in Edmonton, Saskatchewan played a lot of zone coverage. Today, Eddie Davis, you see him right there, one-on-one with Roy Simon. These are the battles that we want to watch all day. Those are two great football players. Roy won that one.
What a tough pick this year to choose between Simon and Printers for most outstanding player. Not unlike the Allen Pitts, Doug Flutie years in Calgary. Printers throwing deep for Thelwell. Double coverage, jump ball, and incomplete. Davin Bush with support from Darnell Edwards.
Mark, you know how that goes. They always give it to the quarterback, the glory boy, never to the hard-working receiver.
Well, it's the chicken and egg theory, right? You don't get the ball unless the quarterback gets it to you.
We see Printers rolling out right here, trying to hit Thelwell on the corner route, and it's a nice job. Davin Bush, he had the flat, he had that covered, but no one pressured him there, so he turned and helped on the deep ball. Great job of breaking it up.
It was Edwards who missed a jump ball in the end zone in the last play of the game, October 30th against Roy Simon. But he made good there. Second down, 10 to go. Printers facing the blitz, steps up and throws deep for Roy Simon. And it's too far. Eddie Davis, step for step in coverage. And BC will have to punt again.
Boy, the Lions like this matchup, Roy Simon on Eddie Davis, and they put 3 receivers into the sideline here with the closest one to the quarterback. As you'll watch, he'll go to the post here. That leaves the whole rest of the field for Roy Simon right down the middle. They just didn't connect on it. It's well conceived when the ball is into the boundary, meaning you're on the weak side hash and you put 3 receivers in there. To have a crosser on your first route and the second guy go right down the middle of the field.
Corey Holmes, they've kept the ball away from him this afternoon. O'Mani goes to the wide side, hammering a line drive punt that bounces at the 30. Holmes will pick it up, and there are flags on the play. This will be no yards against BC. So no return as Lockbaum is down there, but they're too close as Saskatchewan takes over. Coming right up after this football game, CBC Sports presents the East Division Championship from the Big O in Montreal for the 3rd year in a row. It's the Argos and the Alouettes for the right to go to the Grey Cup. And a Grey Cup atmosphere here in Vancouver inside BC Place Stadium. Crowd estimated at 55,000 with their noisemakers. Tremendous atmosphere outside the stadium. People lining up as early as 9:30 local time to get in. They shut down a street for an anticipated street party after the football game should the home team win. Amazing when you consider they had only 6,000 season ticket holders a few years ago here in Vancouver. Riders first down. Option. The pitch out to Kenton Keith. He's outside and driven out of bounds. Very close to a first down.
Well, here's one of those wrinkles with the Rider offense is it's option to the right, get Kenton Keith in space. He turns on the speed, outruns Simpson to the sideline, and picks up a first down. It's just a little wrinkle here and there. That offensively really opens things up for the Riders.
Carl Kidd, who said yesterday, we put licks on Kenton Keith in the first, second, and third quarters. He'll lie down in the fourth. Keith didn't like that. First down. Burris throwing to Dominguez. Curl pattern and another first down to center field. And the fifth catch now to the big target. Back from the NFL New York Jets.
Dante Marsh is a bit scared out at the cornerback position right now, and that is no way to play that position. Again, Dominguez just pushes up 12 yards, threatens him deep, comes back for an easy curl, and it's pitch and catch. Until Marsh gets up in his face, which at this point he doesn't have the confidence to do, they're not going to shut Matt down.
The Riders were saying if this was a regular season game, Dominguez probably wouldn't play, but it's the playoffs and he's playing hurt. Counter, wide side to Corey Holmes, cuts upfield, breaks a tackle from Benyo, and he'll have a gain of about 8 on the play. Corey Holmes, the all-purpose running back receiver who has been platooned at running back with Kenton Keith, and a real team player accepting that role in the last 3 years. Look at the all-purpose yards, leading the league this season in the CFL.
Well, what a 1-2 punch with Keith and Holmes. And Holmes is actually the more versatile. He's the runner, he's the receiver, he's the special team guy. Kenton Keith is just the breakaway running back.
Second down, 3 to go. Burris steps up, throws. It's complete to Elijah Thurman and his first catch of the football game. Into the lineup this weekend for the injured Travis Moore. Thurman played the first 13 games of the year at 600 yards, but then sat down when Dominguez came back from the NFL.
Well, this was a nice job. He's got an out route called in the huddle, but he sees zone coverage. He sees a defensive back outside of him, so he just turns and settles in the hole, and Burris drills it in there, and they get the first down.
Thurman and Burris were teammates in the World League. Back to pass again. Burris steps up, throwing deep for Thurman in the end zone. He's got it! Touchdown, Saskatchewan! Two old teammates hook up again in Canada. 35 yards. And the Riders take the lead.
Well, this is nice. I mean, we expect the Riders to come out here and run the football. That's what we talked about pregame. But here, Burris drops back, makes his read, gets man coverage again, gets Thurman on Washington. He has the height, but also outruns him to the football. What a well-thrown football by Burris. The receiver didn't have to slow down, hit him right in stride.
Burris and Thurman spent most of the offseason training together in the U.S., and it's paid off there. A big touchdown pass. The point after is good. The Saskatchewan Roughriders go up by a converted touchdown with 4:16 to the half. Elijah Thurman celebrating a 35-yard touchdown pass.
Yeah, and Elijah Thurman's up top in the slot. And watch what he does. He's got Mark Washington on him. Little stutter step, swim move, and right by him. No help over the top from the free safety. Boy, it's pick the guy you want to throw to if you're Henry Burris, and he liked this matchup. He liked his old teammate Elijah Thurman with his height advantage over Washington. It's just a simple move.
And he was a real team player, Danny Barrett said, when they took him off the roster with 6 games to go. 5 games to go when Dominguez came back and they decided to keep Karsten Bailey on because of his versatility as a kick returner. But he comes back in this huge playoff game and a big touchdown. Warren caught from behind and just an 8-yard return. The anatomy of the second scoring drive for Saskatchewan. Burris to the air. First to Dominguez on a curl. Stepping up, finds Thurman for the first time, and then goes right back to Elijah Thurman, 35 yards for the touchdown over Mark Washington. And Burris has completed 11 of 13 passes so far for 151 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, and Elijah Thurman is in for the injured Travis Moore, as we talked about. Moore is more the possession guy. Thurman, as we just saw, is a big play type of receiver.
Printers hitch pass to Ryan Thelwell. Davin Bush can't bring him down. And he'll be close to a first down. Gain of 10 to Ryan Thelwell, who has BC's touchdown today.
Well, it's always a good idea to get the ball in the hands of the guys that can make moves like this in the open field. Get it to him quick, let him make a move. He picks up 8, 9, maybe 10 yards. And Thelwell, the ex-San Diego Charger receiver, is a real threat when he's in the open field. He's already got about 100 yards and we're not done. We still got 340 in the first half, but he's just a huge threat when he's in the open field.
Yes, Thelwell saying his first start for San Diego, trying to compare that to his emotions coming into this game, and no question, this one ranks #1 in his career. 3 catches, 105 yards so far. First down, Lions. Printers handing off. Warren hammered at the line of scrimmage. And it's big Nate Davis.
Again, they're back in this bunch formation with a tight end, Jason Claremont, there to your left, and they're trying to run the ball with it. Nate Davis just manhandles the block. Nate Davis is a very strong football player. We talked a lot about last week because he had a war of words with the Eskimos and their O-line, what they couldn't do. But he is a tough football player.
He quietened down this week. Second down, 9, nearly intercepted. Eddie Davis, who picked off Printers twice in the first game this year, will take 10. The Lions forced to punt again by this ball hawk secondary. BC Place jammed this afternoon. Many of these football fans buying a CFL ticket for the first time, and they're being treated to a thriller, a 14-7 Saskatchewan lead.
I haven't seen the stadium this filled since that '94 Grey Cup when I was with the BC Lions and we played Baltimore in that Grey Cup, and the electricity in the stadium today is similar to how it was that night in that Grey Cup in '94.
A tremendous run you guys had. 2 one-point victories to get to the Grey Cup, and then that last field goal to win it by Louis Pasaglia. O'Mani with a beautiful punt over the head and out of bounds beyond Corey Holmes' reach. A 51-yarder in a big swing and field position for Duncan O'Mani, who was drafted by Wally Buono in Calgary as the heir apparent to future Hall of Famer Mark McLaughlin. A reminder coming up at the half. Our panel, Brian Williams, Greg Frères, Sean Millington, and Danny McManus will talk about this opening 30 minutes of football areas. D-Mac out of uniform today.
Yeah.
With Brian Williams, and our History of Excellence will feature Hall of Fame BC Lions center Al Wilson, who's had his number retired. He's also in the Canadian Sports Hall of Fame. He'll revisit his outstanding career at the half. On the ground, play action, hits pass. Karsten Bailey has it, tries to get outside. Great battle to the 25-yard line, and the gain will be close to 10. So Henry Burris, with that hot hand, comes out throwing again.
Again, a nice job. Get the ball in the hands of someone that can make something happen. Watch the block by Jason French out here on Austin. And Corey Grant also helping out. I'm not used to that, you know, as a receiver, that type of solid blocking. That's impressive.
Another rookie pitching in the absence of the injured veteran, Travis Moore. Handoff, Kenton Keith tries to bounce outside. And Simpson, the leading tackler for the Lions, brings him down. The ordained minister.
You got to give Wally Bono credit. I mean, he said we're going to be able to stop the run. The whole roster move with Booker and bringing Walker on as the defensive back. What's hurting the Lions right now defensively is the pass. It's not the run. Guys like Barron Simpson are able to chase down Kenton Keith and Holmes.
Loss of one, the ordained minister, Barron Simpson, saying we don't hate the person on the field, we hate the team because we want to beat them. 2nd and 11. Saskatchewan, Burris firing downfield. It's complete to Jason French for a first down at the 50. Henry Burris converts a 2nd and 11 with authority.
Yeah, Burris looks very, very good right now. He's shown some touch passes to his backs, but right here he drills one to French, and French and Corey Grant in the same area. Certainly not by plan. Marcel Belfay, boy, he's done a tremendous job of mixing up the offensive calls and getting people in the right matchups.
In the silent count, Burris overcoming the noise, throwing down the middle. It's complete to Corey Grant, and another first down as Mark Washington makes the tackle.
I laugh a little bit as I see Corey dance after that catch, because I played with Corey Grant, and I know he doesn't want to be making that catch over the middle, but it's a big game. He makes the play. He's wide open over the middle, knows he's going to get hit. Corey does not make his living coming across the middle, but he's playing well today.
And there has been a power outage over the last half of the season from that BC front four, and they're not getting much pressure on Burris today. Throwing again. Stepping up to the wide side. It's complete to Karsten Bailey. And a first down at the 30-yard line.
That is an amazing throw by Henry Burris. Looking upfield, everything's covered. He throws that ball. It ends up being about a 20-yard game. It probably throws it 45, 50 yards on a rope, and he has to throw it low and away so the defensive back can't make the play.
Karsten Bailey, the rookie out of Auburn, beating Sam Young, the rookie out of Illinois State, and a Western All-Star for the first down at the 30. Riders marching with 41 seconds and counting to go until the half. Here comes the blitz. Kenton Keith up the gut. And Barron Simpson wraps him up with help from Jason Crum. This drive starting back at the Saskatchewan's 15-yard line.
This is going to be big for the BC Lions and their defense to keep Saskatchewan from getting a touchdown. 33 seconds left. They're on the 26-yard line. You have to at least hold them to a field goal right here to keep it close going into the second half.
6 DBs for the Lions. 6 receivers. Holmes into the game for Saskatchewan now. And there's a mix-up. And this noise may have affected the snap. Burris said he tried to call a timeout before the flag. And he's chasing the official.
Well, Corey Grant had already run 5 yards downfield, then the flags that came up, and Henry was trying to call the timeout at the same time. And here's a case where Danny Barrett thinks the refs are right, but he wants Henry to just calm down, keep his composure, and that's what he's doing on this. And listen, Henry, let the refs make the call, come back over here, you're doing great, calm down. That's exactly what he's going to tell him right now.
Burris has executed the offense tremendously well despite the loud crowd noise, and this is the first time they've had a problem with the silent count as he raises his knee for the snap and uses his arms to motion his receiver.
He tries to stop him, but by this time Corey Grant had gone 5 yards downfield.
This was the scene this week at Taylor Field as a local radio station brought in loudspeakers and they pumped deafening white noise and drum beating into their practices to get themselves ready for this very situation.
Yeah, you'd think they'd pump in a little Tragically Hip or something, you know, so you could have something to listen to.
So they'll move it back, and it's 2nd and 11.
Well, here's really the first time that we've seen the crowd noise become a factor, and it's a great part of the football game.
Timeout, BC.
For the crowd to get into it, because they need this stop. It's just going to get louder and louder. sorry to interrupt, Mark. As every time he backs off, if they get a penalty, it's going to get louder and louder.
You're right. It's just going to attract the fans to try to drown him out. There's Spurs with his coaches. And it was back in 1985 when they set a record for the highest attendance at a Western final. Roy DeWalt in the burnt orange downfield in a huge 20-point victory over the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and on they went to the Big O in Montreal that year to beat Hamilton in the Grey Cup. So after the timeout, both teams sort out their strategies. 14 seconds on the clock. 2nd and 11. Again, the crowd deafening. Burris finally gets the ball away cleanly. Steps up, throwing wide side. There's bumping. Bailey bumping into Sam Young. It's incomplete. And so the drive will stall at the 31-yard line.
It's Brett Johnson again. The guy is all over the field, matched up against Charles Thomas up top. Just a bull rush, pushed him out of the way. He gets to Burris quickly. Henry has to get it up early. And they didn't convert. So now they're going to try the field goal. 39-yard field goal by Paul McCallum.
McCallum good on 73.6% of his attempts this year. Straight up the middle. From 39, wide left. And now Lockett to return, and this has been dangerous, but they get him at the goal line. As the clock strikes 0 to end the half.
But that's a huge play by Lockett. I mean, it's 1 point, but he saved his team 1 point by getting out of the end zone and onto the 1-yard line to keep it at 14-7.
And so the players will head to their locker room after this missed 39-yarder from McCallum right down the middle as we join Steve Armitage.
Thank you, Mark. Danny, was that a mark of maturity for your team when the BC Lions came out and struck early?
I'd like to say that, too, as well. We had to keep our composure early. They took the big play on us. We broke coverage, but we just wanted to stay calm. Just like we talked about yesterday in the pregame, we've had a dress rehearsal. It's a full 60-minute game.
Are you pleased with the run-pass combination so far in the first half?
Excellent job of Coach Marcel and the offensive coaches sticking with our game plan, capitalizing on the big play when it was there. The script right now is to form. We just got to stick with it.
Danny, thanks for this. Good luck in the second half.
Thank you very much, Steve.
Danny Barrett and the Riders head to the room, leading by a converted touchdown. You're watching the playoffs, the CFL on CBC.
Vancouver, along with Sean Millington, Greg Frères, and our special guest, Danny McManus. I'm Brian Williams. You're watching the Division Championships here on CBC. The University of Washington Husky Marching Band preparing to entertain. Sean, the last time these teams met, a couple of weeks ago in this stadium, BC winning 40-38. The Lions scored in the first play of the game and the last play. Wasn't the first play of the game. It was early, though, the second play from scrimmage.
Well, Brian, this is one of those things. This is why Casey Printers is so dangerous, because this touchdown is a result of the respect that is shown Casey Printers. The defensive backs see that he's a threat to run and steps up to cover the run, and now all of a sudden the receiver Ryan Thelwell is wide open and trots in for the easy touchdown.
Now, we talked about the Saskatchewan, good ad-lib there, Millie. We'll go with that microphone, a little technical problem. We talked, Greg, about the Saskatchewan defense. Wally Buono said sacks aren't important. You disagree.
Oh, definitely disagree. I mean, this defense for Saskatchewan is fabulous, and we've seen a couple clips here. They've sacked Casey Printers 3 times. Jariniak is having an amazing year. He just overpowers Freddie Moore, gets him back on his heels, and now this coverage sack shows up. It goes hand in hand, the pass rush, and now the secondary steps up. Now all of a sudden Jariniak comes back, there's a nice twist, confuses that offensive line. That offensive line has not had the consistency that they need to have throughout the year because of the injuries that they've had, and Saskatchewan is taking advantage of that tonight.
We saw the Ryan Thelwell touchdown made it 7-0. Corey Grant tied it at 7, and then the Riders go ahead. Danny McManus, I asked you on the pregame show, Travis Moore's injury, does that hurt Saskatchewan? You said no, and here's why.
Yeah, obviously it doesn't hurt. I mean, when your guys scoring a touchdown, Travis Moore might have been able to do the same thing. But Elijah Thurman does a great job. He gets past the defensive back. But then give Henry Burris some credit, like Darren talked about. He did not have to break stride. He just took it, saw the ball come in, grabbed it, and got the 7 points that they needed. And that's the difference right now. I think what's happening right now, Saskatchewan's offense is doing exactly what they want to do.
When you talk about that Saskatchewan offense, we were all at practice here yesterday. Kenton Keith kept making the point, guys. He said, we are not a one-dimensional running team, and we are certainly seeing that today.
Well, Kenton Keith is getting stopped on first down. I thought that was going to be a key, and he hasn't been as effective as I thought he would be on first down. So Henry Burris is stepping in, and he is delivering the ball extremely well. Definitely not just a running team. They can definitely pass the ball, and they've shown that today.
What about the play of Brent Johnson for the BC Lions? I mean, the Lions are trailing, but man, Sean, he's been all over this field.
We had 3 more guys up front who are playing like Brent Johnson right now. This would be a whole different ball game. Brent is going 100% every play. He's finding a way to make things happen. He's beating his man with quickness, and then he comes back, changes up, pushes, uses his strength to get the guy back on his heels, and then goes around him again. We need the rest of the defensive line to step up and play at that level.
Earlier today in the hotel, I saw Marcel Belfay, the offensive coordinator for Saskatchewan, who coached the Ottawa GGs over the University of Regina in 2000 in the Vanier. He'd like to go back to Ottawa in the Grey Cup. He was telling me, Danny, they wanted long plays. Exactly. Is that reflected in the time of possession?
That's one of the things they want to do. They want to keep Casey Printers off the field. How do you do that? Keep your offense on the field. Right now, they're beating them by 5 minutes in time of possession, Saskatchewan's offense. They want 6, 8, 10-play drives. Keep Casey off the field. They can't do anything when he's not on there. When you get those chances to put points on the board, go ahead and get it done.
Speaking of Casey, he needs to take a little bit more time. I think he's being a little too greedy, trying to go for it all at once. He needs to be able to find his guys underneath the coverage and get those 6, 8-play drives himself so that he can get Henry Burris out of the sink that he's in right now.
Well, and case in point is the Santino Hall interception. He was coming down, great drive, threatening to score, then all of a sudden he forces it downfield, like Darren said, upstairs. He's got to take that 5-6 yard play that was open as opposed to forcing it.
And don't forget, coming up at 4 Pacific, 7 Eastern, that's in about an hour and a half from now, we have the Toronto Argonauts and the Montreal Alouettes. We'll step aside here in Vancouver. Our halftime show continues. French and you.
History of Excellence, brought to you by Nissan.
Big Al Wilson spent 15 years punishing would-be tacklers manning the front lines for the BC Lions. He was the most decorated Lion ever, playing in 233 games, a mark surpassed only by Louis Pasaglia. 7 times a CFL All-Star, the man they called Dirt was the league's top lineman in 1977 and guided the Lions to a Grey Cup championship in '85. When they talk about all-time greats here on the West Coast, on that list is Big Al Wilson. And Big Al Wilson's BC Lions down by a converted touchdown at the half in front of 55,000 here at BC Place Stadium, about 18,000 from the Rider Nation on hand. Up next, Mark Lee, Darren Flutie, and Steve Armitage with coverage of the second half of the Western Division Championship.
The CFL on CBC, brought to you by Subway Restaurants, Subway, Eat Fresh, and by Dodge and your Dodge retailers. Grab life by the horn. We're just moments away from the start of the second half here in BC Place Stadium. Let's go to the sidelines and here's Steve with Wally Buono.
The Lions down by a touchdown, Wally, as we begin this second half. What major adjustments do you have to make?
Well, I think we just got to do a better job of executing what we've been practicing all week. Saskatchewan is doing what we thought they were going to do. Right now, they're just doing it better than us.
Are we likely to see Dave Dickinson come in at quarterback in the second?
Well, right now, we have to do a good job of, stopping them on this drive here, and then we'll see what happens.
Thank you, Wally. Good luck.
Thank you.
Right, Steve, and that is a good question indeed, because Casey Printers has been outplayed by Henry Burris in the first half. We heard that Printers would be on a short leash if he couldn't generate some more points. What do you think? Will we see Dickinson soon?
I think just from hearing what Wally just had to say that we'll see Dave pretty soon. Not necessarily that Casey has played a poor game, because he's made some huge plays, but I think we're going to see Dave Dickinson in this second half.
Let's take a look at the halftime numbers here in this West Division Championship. And Saskatchewan 2-1 in first downs.
Well, that's huge because everyone in the league, and we've been talking about it today, knows Saskatchewan is a run team. To have 217 yards passing is phenomenal for a first half. And now look at the sacks. 3 quarterback sacks. I mean, that tells a huge story. And they missed out on some points at the end of the second half. We'll see how largely that looms as the game moves forward.
And no turnovers so far for Saskatchewan. 1 interception given up by Printers to Santino Hall as Duncan O'Mahony gets set to kick it off here to start the third quarter. Deep to Neil Hughes at his 18-yard line. The Canadian up the sideline, puts his head down, and is knocked down by Kelly Lockbaum. A 56-yard kickoff, a 25-yard return for the rookie Canadian. Henry Burris, look at these numbers. 15 of 18 for 217 yards and 2 touchdowns.
What a great first half he has played, and the game plan for the Riders has been tremendous. They've sprinkled in the run when they had to, but they really came out to throw the ball against this Lions defense.
In the 2 games they played against BC this year, they had bye weeks. They had 2 weeks to prepare. Not this time, but you're right, they have come well prepared for this championship game. First down, Burris handing off to Kenton Keith. And it's been slow going for the elusive running back against this #1 run defense in the CFL.
Yeah, it really has. His big, talented offensive line that we touched on in pregame really hasn't opened up the holes against these BC Lions. Hey, the Lions were the #1 team against the run all year. And as Coach said before the game, they don't expect anything to change today. The only problems come in their secondary.
It's a gain of 3 on the carry by Kenton Keith. He's out of the game. For this play, Holmes is in. The big chill, anchoring that left guard spot in all his experience. 2nd and 7. Burris down to the sideline. Incomplete for Elijah Thurman as he went jumping through the air. Jason Crum coming over to help out in the coverage.
BC secondary coming out in the second half, and they must have been talked to in the first, or at least at halftime in the locker room, because they're man-to-man across the board. They're going to say, hey, we're better than these guys. Let's shut them down. Nice job by Mark Washington, and a great job by Jason Crum getting over to help out on Elijah Thurman.
Burris with all kinds of time to throw that one, and just missing. Lockett back to return. McCallum to punt. And the crowd warms up.
Hands in and hands
Line
in
drive to Lockett at the 22. Aaron Lockett, lots of moves, and then he is driven back. A 41-yard punt, an 8-yard return, and Chris Zarka lowers the boom. KC Printers still in control. 8 of 14 for 146, 1 touchdown, 1 pick.
Yeah, the big one he's played fairly well is that interception where he just tried to make the big play when it wasn't there, held on to the ball a bit too long. And remember, they've struggled up front. He's created a lot of the offense with his legs.
Printers setting a record with a pass efficiency of 115 this year. A little off that mark so far. And that's incomplete, intended for G. Roy Simon. But that quarterback passing efficiency has been sort of the standard, the measure of a quarterback in terms of his completions, his interceptions ratio to touchdowns. And he has set the standard this year, missing on the mark there low to G. Roy Simon.
Yeah, that's a play right there. That's almost stealing. He's giving you the out route at 12 yards, and it's all timing. It's maybe that week off had something to do with Printers being off time.
And word from the BC bench that Guano has just told Dickinson to be ready. There's a completion. We'll see where they spot it. G. Roy Simon makes the catch, and it'll be very close to a first down. He's going to get a favorable spot.
He sure did get a favorable spot because he had to come back to that football to make the catch, but it's marked past the first down marker. That's a small thing, but watch where he has to come back and make this catch. It's almost on the other side of the 40 that he makes the catch, and now we see the ball set on the 42.
Third catch for Simon, only 24 yards. He got 11 there. And a BC first down. Printers. Here comes the blitz. Ball's away. It's complete. And Catolo, in his first catch of the day, will scramble What looks like another BC first down. Frank Catolo, the Rookie of the Year 1 year ago for the Lions.
I think a really underused and talented receiver, Frank Catolo. And here's what he does so well. Sits in a zone, puts his head down, and picks up the first down yardage.
So he makes his presence felt with his first catch of the football game. Bunch formation, and they'll run. Warren up the middle. And he'll have a gain of 4 on the play.
You know, it's interesting for them thinking of bringing in Dickinson, and I would think that that may not be the right thing to do. Of course, you get a great reaction from the crowd, but Casey Printers, they've gotten a lot of pressure on him, and he's been able to avoid that rush and kind of make some plays. I don't know if Dave could do that.
Printers, the Western nominee for most outstanding player, going up against Montreal's Anthony Calvillo. Trying to bring his team from behind here. Back to pass. In the pocket. Complete to Antonio Warren, but he's knocked out of bounds, and it looks like they got to him shy of the first down.
Yeah, he's looks like he's substantially shy of the first down, maybe 2 yards, maybe a little bit more. Of course, I could be wrong on that, but that's a smart play by Casey Printers. You know, he's just looking upfield, trying to complete one past the markers, but hey, put it in Antonio's hands. Let him try to pull someone over for a first down.
We're going to measure, and it's a lot closer.
Yeah, so this is definitely the part of the field where they'll go for this. They got to keep this drive alive, get some momentum going.
The Lions scoring on their first offensive series on the bomb to Ryan Thelwell, but they haven't put any more points on the scoreboard since. Casey Printers has got a drive going here. Third down, and Spurgeon Wynn comes into the game now on this third down gamble. The number 3 pivot and the hero in the last game of the season with the last play touchdown pass to G. Roy Simon. Unparalleled depth in the quarterbacking core for the Lions. 4 players spread to the wide side as a distraction, and Spurgeon Wynn will keep it himself.
Yeah, he got the mark and he got the first down, so that'll keep the drive alive. A very important drive after holding the Riders to a 2 and out. And now they get it in their own end, and they crossed midfield into the Riders' territory. They need to score some points.
Spurgeon Wynn, who came off the bench twice this year to lead the Lions to touchdowns and victories. And he moves the pile. Nate Davis driven back by that offensive line of the Lions. And a first down, BC. At the 46 of Saskatchewan. Printers, time again, leaks out of the backfield to Antonio Warren. He cuts upfield, and he dives for what looks like another first down. Second effort by Antonio Warren, now being employed as a receiver.
And it's a great move to use him as a receiver. Saskatchewan's dropping back in what we call a match coverage. Safeties are running deep. It's kind of like a zone coverage. Use your back underneath. And boy, he does a great job of avoiding tackles and picking up the first down.
The gain is 11 for the 5-year veteran out of California Polytech. A man who had 2 2,000-yard rushing seasons in college football. Printers back deep against the blitz. Throwing for the home run into the end zone. Incomplete to Ryan Thelwell. In and out of his hands.
Ryan's had a great game today, made some big catches, but this is one in a big-time game. A big-time player's got to make this play. Oh, as you can see, Morgan kind of grabbed his left arm over there, so he wasn't able to get both hands on the football, so I cut him a little slack. That's a very tough catch to haul in with one hand.
So Omar Morgan breaking it up. And it's 2nd and 10. Lions at the 35 of Saskatchewan. Printers steps up in the pocket, under pressure, tries to escape, buying time to the wide side, stops and throws hard, and he's got it. Riders are waving it off. Ryan Thelwell comes back to the football, and there'll be a conference here. They'll spot it at the 11.
saying Printers has to be in there. He can make plays like this. He got out of the pocket, took the hit from Hunt, and no one was working for him until the last second. I was watching the play develop, no receivers coming back. Finally, Thelwell comes back and makes a huge play, puts the ball on the 11-yard line.
Gain of 24 yards, and the Lions threatening here. Printers back to pass. Across the middle, it's complete to Thelwell again. His go-to receiver.
Yeah, nice play. Now Casey's back into form that he was early in the first half. Now look at this. Wow. Yeah, here's where he gets flushed out of the pocket. He's got no one working for him until you see Thelwell up top just turn around, and he knows he's going to take the hit, so he anticipates the spot that Thelwell's going to end up. And they convert the big first down on a big play.
2nd and 6 from the 7. Printers backpedaling. Throws it across the middle. Complete. Touchdown. Chris Brazel. What a drive.
A great drive. Amidst talk of maybe Dave Dickinson coming in, Casey Printers steps up and shows why he may be considered the most outstanding player of the Canadian Football League.
A 7-yard scoring pass to Chris Brazel on a drive that started at the BC 30.
This is a well-conceived play, but Brazel getting a little bit of the nonchalant, I'm going to walk into the end zone, takes a nice hard hit, and the ball pops out, but I do think he was across the plane already.
The point after by O'Malley is good. And we have a tie football game as Printers drives BC.
Play here, you see the two receivers here clear out, the other one going out, and here comes Brazel in the flat, but then he's going to cut it back in, and he's going to be wide open. It's what we used to call 264 smash. See him go in the out, come back in, nobody there. He's just got to get into the end zone a little quicker, Mark.
Chris Brazel has now scored 3 touchdowns in 3 games against Saskatchewan this year, and that kickoff goes out of bounds. So that will mean good field position for the Saskatchewan Roughriders as they will scrimmage on their own 45-yard line. Casey Printers, 7 of 9 and a touchdown just when we thought he was going to get the hook. Chris Brazel on the receiving end of a 7-yard touchdown pass from Casey Printers, and a drive that totaled 11 plays, 9 of them passes.
Yeah, boy, as you mentioned, we were talking about maybe Dickinson coming back in, but I think in that drive, you saw why Casey Printers needs to be in there.
The Lions scoring a touchdown on their first possession of each half now. And they're really loud as Printers hands off. It's a reverse to Kenton Keith. Gets a good block outside. There you go. And drilled as he reaches the first down marker at center field.
Boy, this is a well schemed play, a double reverse. You get one of your best football players, Kenton Keith, in the open field, and it looked huge. Looks like it was going to be a great play, but Marsh makes a heck of an open field tackle on Kenton Keith and holds him to only 10 yards.
Keith so dangerous when he gets to daylight. Marcel Belfay communicating the plays to Henry Burris. It'll be 2nd down and inches as the call comes from the bench. And on the last play, Burris came up behind his center because it is so noisy here, not wanting to risk another miscue.
Well, that last play, it's one of those things when you see Kenton Keith in the open field like that, you think either touchdown, a huge play, but that's a great open field tackle by Marsh.
The fans amp it up again. 2nd and inches at center field. Burris with his backs in the I formation, up behind his center, Jeremy O'Day. He'll call his own number, and he'll have the Saskatchewan first down. Henry Burris, who was challenged after the Roughriders were 4-8 this year by his coaching staff to raise the level of his game, and it was Barrett, it was Roy Shivers, the general manager, who said, we need you to play better. He took it to heart. He stayed late after practices with his receivers, and then a 6-1 run to this championship game.
Yeah, a lot of people think they're the hottest team in the CFL, and that's when you have to get hot, when you're heading into the playoffs.
First down, Saskatchewan. Burris handing off. Kenton Keith tries to bounce outside. A straight arm to Carl Kidd, but Kidd wins that battle.
Kenton just can't really get started today. He's got his quickness and everything, but he can't break that initial tackle that will give him the long run. And you see, just holding on by a thread.
Carl Kidd playing this football game with a broken hand. He missed 3 practices last week to try to heal up. Second and long. 2nd and 7, Saskatchewan. Burris now in the shotgun. Silent count. Calls for the snap again. Here comes the pressure. Burris across the middle. It's complete to Jason French. And Saskatchewan will move the sticks again.
Nice play calling. You got 2nd and 7. He takes the nice safe pass underneath. They had 2 crossers coming underneath, expecting man coverage, but what they got is zone. So Kidd's waiting on the side for the hit, but he's waiting at 8 yards, 1 yard beyond where the first down marker is. So the Riders get the first down and keep moving in towards the end zone.
Jason French, the Saskatchewan nominee for top Canadian this year. The big first down. Burris, silent count. Back to pass. Out of the backfield, Kenton Keith's got it. Gets a block and bangs his way to another for fumble. The ball was loose. Yep. And the Riders get it back. Elijah Thurman on the spot after Kenton Keith gets the first down.
This is an interesting throw by Henry Burris. I haven't seen this since Doug Flutie used to do this. He's looking at someone else but knows exactly where Keith is, pretends he's throwing it straight and then dumps it to the back. And there you see the ball come out after the hit by Washington, but alertly Elijah Thurman jumps on it and keeps the drive alive.
Burris using 7 different receivers. Here comes Holmes outside and driven out of bounds. He went a long way for a short gain. Corey Holmes, the all-purpose leader in this football league. And the gain will be 1.
Yeah, I'm all for the trick play. I love a little reverse, little flea flicker, but that's the 3rd time they've run the reverse. I think BC's kind of become alert to it, and they see it coming.
The Riders trying to go east and west, and it's been hard going north and south against this top run defense of BC. 2nd and 9. Ball on the 29 of BC. Burris beats the rush. Now he'll run. Henry Burris stretching. Fumble!
Elijah Thurman again.
And Thurman recovers again. Mark Washington in on the tackle with Burris reaching out for the first down and exposing the football.
Boy, saved twice on this drive, and we'll see the refs are trying to sort something out, but the ball just hanging out there while he's running. You got to tuck that away, and it's close. They may rule that his knee was down, but again, Elijah Thurman alertly, I don't know, that's 50-50 whether it's a fumble or not. We'll let them sort that out, but just in case, Thurman's on top of it, so it wouldn't matter. It all depends where the mark is.
Thurman with a big day coming back on the roster after missing the last 5 games with the return of Dominguez. He's got a touchdown, a couple of fumble recoveries, and he's also been helping out now, blocking for Charles Thomas as they try to take on big Brent Johnson to rush in.
Brent Johnson's been a force today, so they need help at that end.
The ruling on the play is that the quarterback was down at the first point of contact. We're going to measure for a first down.
And that's why it becomes important. When they rule him down, he was not quite, maybe not quite, had the first down. We'll see what the measurement shows.
It looked like his knee was down before the ball came out of his hand, and here's the measurement. Wow, that's close. It is a first down.
But you know what Henry Burris saw on that play, and he did have a receiver, Corey Holmes, come wide open, but it was press coverage across the board with 2 free safeties. And when that happens, everyone is just running with the receiver. So he sees that, and he automatically thinks quarterback draw, because that's the play that can beat that what we call is a 2-man. 2 deep safeties, man-to-man across the board.
8th play of the Saskatchewan drive coming up. First down on the BC 20. Handoff, Kenton Keith tries to slice behind his center. again, it's Otis Floyd on the tackle. Short yardage, a gain of about 2.
Again, an illustration of how the Lions are the best run-stopping defense in the league. Kenton Keith just can't get going. And remember, Floyd had the burner earlier in the football game. He's come back and played extremely well.
Kenton Keith, he got frustrated last week when things weren't going well early. His teammates told him to calm down, and then he busted that 34-yarder on that scoring drive as they beat Edmonton. 2nd and 8, Saskatchewan. Burris will run again. Quarterback sneak, breaks 3, daylight, touchdown, with a flag on the play. So dangerous when he runs.
He is dangerous, and he got that man coverage again, where all the defensive backs are just
holding.
running.
Saskatchewan number 69. Keep second down.
The big Till, Freddie Childress, nabbed for holding to negate the touchdown.
So impressed with the play calling, though, Marcel Belfay. Again, he goes back, and watch the defensive backs run away. And Childress is right here. That's a tough call. That is a tough call to make.
So they'll move the ball back. 2nd and 18 now on the 10-yard penalty. Ball on the 28. Remember, last week they had a touchdown called back. Offensive interference to Dominguez, and they answered right back to Corey Grant. What will they do now? Burris rolling, throwing. It's complete. Karsten Bailey with a huge catch at the 5. And so once again, Henry Burris overcomes a setback.
Well, it's amazing what these quarterbacks can do by improvising. And this time they're in a deep zone coverage. They're not in the man-to-man, but he still buys time, and the receiver, Karsten Bailey, works back to the football. I mean, that's a tight spot to throw that ball. Well-thrown football. Good job for Karsten Bailey coming back, making the catch.
His 4th catch of the game. 1st and goal. On the ground, Kenton Keith. Fumble! BC's got it! First turnover for Saskatchewan, and it's a big one. A disconsolate Kenton Keith getting some encouragement from Henry Burris after the huge fumble.
Yeah, it's right up the gut, and we think Cameron Legault, right there on your left, gets his arm in there and jars the ball loose. You see it come loose just to the right.
And it was Keith's 2nd fumble on that series. And the veteran from Carleton with a huge strip. 1st down. They'll stay on the ground. And Warren has a tough ride there for a short gain.
Yeah, as you mentioned, it's his 2nd fumble on that drive, and Burris had just fumbled one, and you see it pop there, and Washington jump on it. And again, Elijah Thurman, I'm telling you, they should put him right behind Kenton Keith and follow around just in case he fumbles to jump on it every time.
The new game plan.
That's the new game plan.
2 11-play drives, and this is the 2nd time in the 3rd quarter that BC is on offense. The final seconds ticking. 2nd down and 7. Printers to the goal line. It's complete. Jason Claremont, but he won't get there. I don't think he's close enough.
Oh, they gave him another great mark.
Oh, wow, they did.
Yeah. I mean, I thought his knee goes down a bit early on this one, but as he reaches the football, they give him the rest of the yardage. He needs to get over the 15-yard line on the catch. The knee, I thought the knee went down early, but hey, they gave him over the 15 and he got the 1st down.
Claremont in his 1st full season, his 3rd overall. The last 2 interrupted by injuries, and then as a rookie, didn't start until week 7. Printers across the middle. Roy Simon is wide open. Omar Morgan makes the tackle. A gain of 7. The Lions on the move. The fourth quarter straight ahead in Vancouver. And this West Division Championship all tied at 14 as we look at the three-quarter numbers.
Yeah, look at the yards passing again is the thing that sticks out for me. And Casey Printers really answered the call in the second half. But Saskatchewan, time of possession. They missed the field goal late in the first half, and now they turned the ball over. So that one turnover on their side is a huge turnover because there's potentially 10 points that they lost right there.
Twice now Saskatchewan's been in scoring range and come away with nothing. BC stays on the ground, and Warren digging his way close to a first down up the middle again.
Coming out at halftime, it did seem like the right moment, didn't it, for Dickinson? The crowd would have gone crazy, but Coach Bono made the right move. He knows he's struggling up front, and Printers has bounced back strong.
Indeed he has. Printers good on 9 of 11 passes in this second half for 88 yards and a touchdown. Answering the call when the pressure was on. Here comes the blitz from Saskatchewan. Play action. Pitch pass to Thelwell outside. A block from Brazel. Looked like a block from behind.
Sure did.
And BC will be very close to another first down.
Yeah, BC got away with that one. Brazel made a block from behind, but again, get it into Thelwell's hands. He makes people miss. And he does it right here to get the last look on Omar Morgan. Brazel hit him from behind, but the ref was right there, didn't call it.
Ryan Thelwell having a tremendous West Division championship. Big touchdown to light it up early. And look at the numbers, 6 for 139. Second down in the yard, BC. Handoff, Warren struggling, and he'll have the BC first down.
Coming into the football game, we had talked so much about Kent and Keith, but Antonio Warren runs the football very, very hard. And that was a perfect example. He breaks that first tackle, and then he has a chance to pick up the first down.
There's Steve Barato, the offensive coordinator for the Lions. He was the head coach in 2000, the last time BC won the Grey Cup. Working with an unparalleled depth at quarterback on this football team. Printers, Dickinson, Spurgeon win. Play action, pressure. Screen pass, it's complete to Warren. And a good tackle. Omar Morgan wraps him up at the line of scrimmage.
I just talked about how Antonio Warren makes that first person miss, but here he is. Wide open field on a uh-oh. Casey Printers is hurt. Printers is hurt on this hit right here. So like it or not, Lions are going to see Dave Dickinson.
Printers has gone down at the 21. Favoring his arm, and Dave Dickinson quickly warms on the BC sideline.
You know, I was just saying that they had made the right move. You know, Casey Printers is playing great. In the back of my mind, I'm saying, boy, I'm talking about Dave Dickinson, one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play up here. And here you see the hit. You know, I couldn't even guess as to what that is. Now, Bill Rochelle, head trainer for the BC Lions, is looking at his shoulder.
Well, we talked about the unparalleled depth at quarterback, and right now, Printers in trouble. Dickinson coming to his cause. Bill Rochelle attending to Casey Printers, injured, and it looks like it's just something on his throwing arm.
Well, yeah, that's obviously the worst place for an injury to a quarterback, and he braces his fall. Look at that with his left arm and his wrist and shoulder from the turf can take a beating on that. So now as Casey walks off the field, Dave Dickinson steps in. He's still looking at his shoulder. That doesn't look like an injury where he's going to be able to come back in. So right now, this West Division Championship falls in the lap of Dave Dickinson.
So Printers in a lot of difficulty as he heads to the sideline. Dave Dickinson, who has endured 3 knee surgeries in the past year, has been a real veteran and a team player, accepting his role in behind Casey Printers when the kid came off the bench this year to light up this league. And now this game may be in the veteran's hands. He's a surgeon at quarterback. 6 receiver set, first pass. It's complete to G-Roy Simon.
Well, that's not bad. Not a bad way to start. It's a full timing thing. Boy, he throws this thing early. But this is his favorite target, G-Roy Simon. Puts it right He has no chance but to make the play.
Great catch.
Yeah, it actually is a tremendous catch by Leroy Simon. And that's big for Dave Dickinson. For the first pass he throws to be a completion.
And that's the difference, that it can give defenses trouble. You've got Printers who likes to run around, make things happen. Dickinson is the surgeon. Quick, surgical strikes. Play action, rolling. Here comes Benefield. Complete again to Jason Claremont. And another BC first down. Jason Claremont, the Regina kid, with a big play against his parents and his friends' favorite team.
Well, how many football teams would just be devastated when your most outstanding player, your quarterback, goes down in the West Division Championship, but not the BC Lions with their depth at quarterback. Now you have a former most outstanding player, Dave Dickinson, calling the signals.
They've had 3 different heroes at quarterback this year in BC. Printers, Dickinson, and Wynn have all figured in the victories. Throwing again, it's complete to Fella, and he steps out of bounds for a 3rd consecutive first down.
Yeah, they've had a lot of heroes at quarterback this year, but the only one that matters right now is Dave Dickinson. He understands this. This is his moment. We saw him on the sideline. We were talking about him coming in. You see his eyes, the look on his face. He's waiting for this moment, and now he has it. And you can tell by the way he's playing, he doesn't want this to slip away.
Dickinson, who had a rib injury a couple of weeks ago, shaken up. It's been a tough year with the 11th play of this drive. Back to pass. Lots of time. Across the middle again. Frank Catolo will gather it in and spin at the first down marker. Dickinson 4 for 4 through the air.
4 for 4, and he's throwing it to different receivers. Here he drops the underneath crossing route to Catolo. Earlier it was Leroy Simon. It was Thelwell. I mean, he's spreading the ball around, just taking what the Rider defense is giving him.
Casey Printers leaving the field on his way to the BC Lion locker room as they measure, and this will be another first down for the Lions. What a difference a year makes. I was talking to Wally Buono earlier this week, and I asked him to compare the difference between this playoff game and 1 year ago, and he said the difference is last year when we lost Dave, we lost hope, and this was a defeated team before the game was even played. This year, though, with 3 strong quarterbacks, that is not the atmosphere on this BC Lion football team. Dickinson marching, pressure now, and they've got him. First sack, and it's Jackie Mitchell. The first sack of Dave Dickinson.
Now this is what you worry about when Dave Dickinson comes in, because he's been banged up, been injured. Now watch Jackie Mitchell come off the left, and no one pops out to take him. Just untouched.
An amazing concession, though, by Wally Buono to say that his team was beaten before it even played the football game in that East semifinal against the Argos 1 year ago.
Yeah, you don't hear many head coaches admit that he was going into the game thinking that they were going to lose that football game.
Second down, 13 after the loss of 3. Here comes the pressure again. Dickinson steps up, throwing deep, wide open, Warren, touchdown, BC!
So bad for Casey Printers being injured and being out of this game, but the flip side is Dave Dickinson is taking this opportunity and running with it. I mean, he had pressure on that play, had to step up, avoid the rush, bought himself some time, and then found an open Antonio Warren for a touchdown.
Jason Crum to hold for the point after. And O'Mani will split the uprights. The lead has changed for the 5th time as the Lions go in front by a touchdown on the Warren touchdown. The BC Lions with 2 second-half possessions and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, watch on Antonio Warren running out and up right here, and watch the free safety here. And hey, he's running a route for Santino Hall. Watch Santino Hall try to jump that, and then the free safety up top bite when Dave steps up. Wide open. Santino Hall doesn't get beat by a lot of running backs in this league, but he did right there.
Dave Dickinson 5 for 5 and a touchdown. All 5 touchdowns today through the air. It's Corey Holmes at the 22. Bounces outside, high stepping, and hammered shy of the 40. Dave Dickinson to the rescue, and he makes Saskatchewan pay. Ball game, 8:55 to go. Dave Dickinson, the patient professional, coming off the bench and leading the Lions to the go-ahead touchdown on a drive that began after the fumble by Kenton Keith at the BC 5. And now Henry Burris to answer back. Play action, pitch, and Karsten Bailey has to go down to make the catch, gets up. And what a second effort there. The Lions thought they had him down after about a gain of 3 or 4. We'll see where they spot it as we take one more look at that drive. First, Printers injured, out of the game. Dickinson off the bench. 5 for 5, and then Antonio Warren open behind Santino Hall for the touchdown to go ahead. How hard is that?
Not easy to step into a football game like this and perform the way Dave Dickinson has done.
2nd and 2. Burris outside on the naked bootleg will slide to the 50, and a Saskatchewan first down.
Now this is very interesting. Now what the Riders do, how they react to that touchdown and the momentum shift of Dave Dickinson, and coming out and getting this first down right here is a big first step to scoring that next touchdown.
We saw this year how he beat the Alouette defense with his running. Many football teams, Darren Simpson saying this week, of all the running threats on the Saskatchewan team, I worry most about Henry Burris. First down, Burris to pass, in the pocket, stepping up, throwing wide side, wide open! Karsten Bailey still going as he cuts up the middle! And dropped at the 10-yard line! The rookie out of Auburn with a 40-yard game.
Boy, we're seeing some great football players step up and make plays, and here is Henry Burris. My fear is that he wouldn't remain patient, but here he is, steps up, looks left, looks right, finds the open man, hits him, gets the ball down to the 10-yard line.
Henry Burris, good on 84% of his passes today for 307 yards.
He's played extremely well.
Has got this offense marching again. First and goal from the 10. Burris rolling right, flags down, and it looks like there's movement along the Regina O-line.
Mikowski moved early, and now here's the fear. Can Henry Burris remain patient and not try to force a throw?
Procedure, Saskatchewan, number 60, repeat first down.
Mikowski,
right tackle. You know, it's a tough place to take a penalty down when you're moving in, but there he is right there. Just moves early. He looks like one of the receivers running on a pass route. But here, now you're 1st and 15 at the 15. It's a little harder to get your touchdown. Don't force it. Worst comes to worst. There's plenty of time. A field goal's not the worst thing in the world.
1st and 15. It's deafening. Burris throwing backside. Dominguez! He can't make the catch, and there's all kinds of contact in the end zone.
Well, there's all sorts of contact. It's well covered by Marsh. Of course, he wasn't playing the football. He's just running. And then at the last second, I see an orange come on the field. I thought it was a penalty for interference there, but I think it's well covered right here. That's a good no call. And I'm a guy that I like the interference call. I love it as a former receiver, but I think...
Wait a minute, how about that angle?
No, good no call. I'll stick to it.
Okay, 2nd and goal from the 15. Riders desperate to convert here. Down by a touchdown. And a deafening. Burris against the blitz. Throwing back to the end zone. Incomplete. Bouncing out of the hands of Sam Young, the other rookie corner.
Now, this is what I was talking about. That first throw to Dominguez, that's a good throw. You got a good chance, one-on-one over Marsh to get the touchdown. But here, this is a bad ball. This is into tough coverage, and it should have been intercepted by Austin, I think. Number 24 was back there. Oh, no. Number 2.
Cam Young had it in his hands for a moment.
I mean, that would have been a big turnover if Sam Young would have picked that off.
Young rookie out of Illinois State and a Western All-Star this year with 5 interceptions. This attempt from the 23. McCallum has already missed one, and he makes this one. Paul McCallum, good from 23 yards out. And with 5:23 to go, the Lions lead by 4. You're looking live at Olympic Stadium in Montreal as the Alouettes and Argos warm up for the WestJet East Division Championship. A crowd of more than 50,000 expected there. 55,227 here at BC Place as the CFL is on its way, well on its way to what looks like a record attendance for playoff football in 2004. Dave Dickinson staying at quarterback. Hits out to Antonio Warren. He's got some blocks and a big tackle by the veteran David Benefield. Catches him and collars him along the line of scrimmage. Now down to the sidelines, and here's Steve.
Thank you, Mark. I talked to Casey Prentice just a few moments ago. He said it's a bruised shoulder around the bone area. He's having great difficulty throwing. He'd like to come back in, but it's going to be Dave Dickinson staying in there. Casey Prentice with a bruised shoulder.
Thank you, Steve. Yes, the Lions with the luxury of a Dave Dickinson off the bench. 2nd and 10, no gain on the Warren pass. Dickinson across the middle. Ryan Thelwell makes the catch and breaks a tackle. First down yardage and more. What a day for Ryan Thelwell. Jackie Mitchell could not wrap him up.
Well, that's the matchup that I really liked for the BC Lions coming into this game. And here they get Jackie Mitchell one-on-one. So he's got to give Thelwell a big cushion, which he does. And then when Thelwell gets the ball, we've seen it all day. As you said, he's stepped up huge today, makes Mitchell miss, and gets a big gain down to the 48-yard line.
Look at the numbers for Ryan Thelwell. 177 yards and a touchdown. And the Lions are moving again. Dickinson straight back. Throwing deep downfield. Stretching out is G-Roy Simon. And he can't bring it in with Omar Morgan right there.
I was going to say, in the absence of G-Roy Simon having a huge game today, which has been typical for the Lions, Thelwell has been the guy. He's been the guy making all the plays. And here it's a little out move, and then back to the post. He turned Morgan great. Just Dave, you got to consider that the receiver, when he makes a move like that, he has to restart. So there's a little bit of a slowdown. So a quarterback's got to stick it in there a little tighter.
That's the first incomplete pass thrown by Dickinson. 2nd and 10. Here comes the blitz from Saskatchewan. Dickinson rolling away. They've got him from behind. And it's Terrell Juriniak with his 3rd sack of this game. So the Saskatchewan defense rising up to stop Dickinson and force BC to punt.
Yeah, it's these looks, this defensive front, and Richie Hall, something different every play. And again, you mentioned it, Juriniak just having a huge game as Schultz turns him back in. And you know what? Dave Dickinson doesn't get enough credit for his ability to avoid the rush. He's shown, even coming in today, that he's very athletic, can avoid the rush and make plays on the run.
Corey Holmes has had a quiet afternoon in the return game. Duncan O'Mahony at his own 40 to punt for BC. The Lions dropped 4 guys off to help protect the punt. It's a line drive right into the midsection of Holmes. And Holmes, not much going there as he crosses the 25-yard line for a return of 7. This Tuesday is do-or-die time for many. The drive to win becomes brutally obvious as players fight to keep their dreams of NHL glory alive. Making the Cut, presented by Bell, Tuesday at 8 on CBC television. 3:11 to go. And the Riders back on offense. Twice they've been inside the 20-yard line. Fumbling it away on the 5. They got as close as the 10 and couldn't convert. came away with a field goal in the last drive. They trail by 4. Burris across the middle. Jason French has the catch. And a first down. Jason French, who has been a favorite receiver for Henry Burris, with a 20-yard gain and a Rough Rider first down. Back at BC Place, more than 55,000 fans, and they only need the edge of their seats now as we check your Gillette game notes.
Well, I had Born to Run for the Saskatchewan offense, the great Bruce Springsteen song. I should have had In the Air Tonight by Phil Collins, because Burris has been the man throwing the football. Defensively, Casey and the Sunshine Band, I didn't know what a prophet I would be. Casey Printers is out of the football game. Band.
Can't hear a word you're saying. First and 10. Burris throwing across the middle. It's complete to Jason French again for another first down. Jason French, the top Canadian this year in Saskatchewan, and a big play man. 3 of his 4 touchdowns were huge plays this year. Another big catch.
Yeah, they're seeing something across the middle. The first play out was Jason French up the left seam. Now they throw him up the right seam across the middle against Kidd.
The fans here trying to help their Lions. Here comes the blitz. Burris throwing off his back foot for Dominguez. He can't reach it. What a battle with Jason Crum along the sideline. Now, how about your BC Gillette game notes?
Offensively for the BC Lions, we had the Warren Commission. He's played extremely well, but the story obviously on offense has been Dickinson and Printers. Defensively, down on the corners, their corners had to step up. Early they were beat, but we saw Marsh right there, and we saw him in the end zone on Dominguez making big plays.
Yes, Antonio Warren with the go-ahead touchdown for BC. 2:19 to go, 2nd and 10 at the BC 50. Saskatchewan trailing by 4. Burris in the shotgun. Time. Throwing across the middle. It's complete to Corey Grant. Turning upfield. Hurdling for the first down marker. And out of bounds shy of the 40 for a gain of about 9.
You know, this is the effort and the playmaking ability that Greg touched on in a pregame, that we see the heroes of the Canadian Football League step up. This is great patience by Burris, and what a great effort by Corey Grant, the Stony Creek native, ex-Hamilton Tidecat. Now it looks like they're going to be left with a 3rd and short. They have to convert on this one.
Danny Barrett has shown tremendous poise. Henry Burris has been a real leader. Remember when he went to the bench and Kenton Keith turned the ball over. He was there to console him and to pump him up. Before the football game, he hugged every one of his players. A real leader. And there's the measurement. About 2 feet. 3rd down. And Saskatchewan will have to gamble.
Well, Saskatchewan has a great offensive line. They're talented and they're big. You would think a play like this, they should be able to get that yard and get the first down.
3rd down. Less than a yard. The Riders gambling to maintain possession. Burris calls his own number, and he'll crash for a first down, Saskatchewan. That takes a little bit of the life out of this building momentarily.
Well, you got Jeremy O'Day at center, Childress right next to him, and Andrew Green right next to him. I put my money on those 3 against anyone in the league, and why not run right behind them? Look at them. They move the line of scrimmage. They get some help from Chris Zarko over the top. They pick up the yard they needed.
This is pressure. 1:56 to go in regulation time. The crowd deafening. The Lion defense in its own end now. Burris, lots of time, throwing deep downfield for Grant. He got it! What a catch! Corey Grant over to Sean Austin.
That was the same play they scored the touchdown against Edmonton when they got the turnover off the fake punt. Corey Grant's going up the right seam with a clearing route down the middle. Oh! He just steals that ball from Austin, and boy, has he come up big today, Corey Grant.
Is he ever? That's his 5th catch of the football game. That one for 34 yards. Here we go. Saskatchewan, first and goal from the BC 5. 1:33 and counting left in the football game. Burris to the silent count. Dropping back. He'll roll left. Pressure now. Tugbenyo in pursuit. Burris throws it away. And a huge block behind the play as Karsten Bailey came back to level Austin, who lost his helmet, and he's shaken up.
Wow. Karsten Bailey had peeled back from his route when seeing Henry was in trouble, and he was full speed. And Austin was full speed in chase, and you're going to see this coming up. I mean, turn away if you don't want to see a collision. That is a great hit and a great effort.
Right there, as Bailey got his shoulder right into the chin of Deshaun Austin. And a wise play by Burris to throw it away, because it looked like he was going to lose at least 4 on the play.
Yeah, that's the composure element that Danny Barrett talks about with Henry Burris now. In the past, he may have tried to force a throw, maybe try to tuck it in there and run and maybe fumble. But hey, he knows he has time left. Throw it away, live to fight another play.
1:16 to go in this football game. We'll check on Austin when we come back. Back at BC Place. Austin now up and under his own steam as he heads to the bench. Second and goal from the 5. This drive starting way back at the Saskatchewan 28. They need a touchdown.
Well, Austin comes out of the football game now, and Wally, of course, has dressed an extra defensive back, so they're well covered as far as substitutions. But what do you do now if you're a Rider? What do you call offensively? Your go-to play has been Dominguez, weak side against Marsh. I think we may see that matchup again.
Marcel Belfay, the offensive coordinator now, with one of the biggest calls of his career.
Yeah, field goal's no good here. You're down by 4, you need the touchdown.
Second and goal from the 5, Saskatchewan. Everybody standing at BC Place. Here comes the blitz. Burris throws it to the end zone. Jump ball! Incomplete! Dominguez could not hold on. And Dante Marsh wins another battle in the end zone.
Well, there's the matchup we just talked about. And Dominguez, with his straight, beat him cleanly off the line of scrimmage. But Burris had pressure. He had to hold on to the ball. You'll see Dominguez come open, so the ball flutters a little bit. Marsh makes a heck of a play. It's tough to get up over top of a tall Matt Dominguez.
Dante Marsh burned for 2 touchdowns by Dominguez in the last game of the season, but the rookie has won 2 big battles now in the end zone. They've got to go for it. Third and goal from the 5. 1:10 to go in regulation time. Burris trying to beat the crowd and the blitz. Throws it to the end zone. Touchdown, Elijah Thurman! Two Orange Browns hook up. And Saskatchewan's got the lead.
Well, what can you say about Henry Burris? I mean, that was the moment. 3rd and 5, you need the touchdown. And he used everybody. Used Corey Grant on the drive. But here, it's Elijah Thurman on Mark Washington. He looks left and then throws right. Washington just too late on the close, and Thurman barely gets into the end zone.
Danny Barrett celebrating clutch play.
That being said, there's a minute 5 left, and Dave Dickinson's on the other sideline right now, formulating his plan to get down and stick the ball in the other end zone.
Paul McCallum with the convert. Henry Burris, a dramatic play, 5-yard pass to Elijah Thurman, his 2nd touchdown. A young man who was taken off the roster after week 13 and comes back with a championship performance today.
So guys all across the board stepped up and made plays for the Riders on that drive, but it all started with Henry Burris. A 9-play drive where everyone was touching the football.
And pressure.
The pressure, he's falling off his back leg. He's barely able to get anything on it, but he gets enough so Mark Washington can't close and make a play. Johnson in his face again, as he's been all day, all game.
Elijah Thurman into the game for the injured Travis Moore. Could not play when his knee locked up in practice this week. What a substitute.
Yeah, he hasn't played, and he's in this week, but he's been practicing for 5 weeks because Travis Moore's been injured and not practicing.
Now, can Saskatchewan hold the lead? They were in the same situation October 30th when they roared back to take the lead, and then it was Spurgeon Wynn leading the come-from-behind rally.
Well, it's a small point, and I'll go back to it. At the end of the first half, Aaron Lockett brings the missed field goal out and saves a point. So at this point in the game, the BC Lions only need a field goal. Instead of that difference being 4 points, it's 3, so a field goal puts it into overtime.
McCallum puts everything he's got into this kickoff to the 10-yard line. Antonio Warren stopped momentarily, and they track him down as he crosses the 25-yard line. One game ago, the last game of the season, Spurgeon Wynn off the bench to lead BC in the rally. Last play of the game, no time, and he finds DeRoy Simon in front of Santino Hall and Darnell Edwards. 40-38, a dramatic come-from-behind victory that forced Saskatchewan to go on the road in the semifinal to Edmonton. Now, is there another miracle left in this BC offense? This time it's Dickinson at the controls.
Well, they've got
1 minute to go.
To go 40 yards and get into field goal range.
Dickinson back to pass down the middle. It's complete to Brazel. And he stopped on the spot, very close to a first down. Stopping the clock, 53 seconds.
Plenty of time on the clock, and you got a guy at quarterback that's been here, done this many a time.
This BC team, what a thrilling comeback team this year. They were down 20-0 to Montreal, and it was Brazel who had the touchdown catch with 37 seconds to play on October 11th. Dickinson again, pressure! They got him! Scott Schultz! The 6th sack of the football game for the sack leaders.
Timeout.
He was focused on Jason Claremont underneath, who had another smash route, meaning moving in and coming back out, but he was well covered. And by the time Davis put the ball back and looked the other way, well, he's in trouble. Schultz has him by then.
The loss is 9 on the sack by Scott Schultz, who teamed with Nate Davis to lead this sack-happy defense with 8 each during the regular season. Wally Buono has his veteran at the controls, Dave Dickinson. Desperate for a comeback. 2nd and 19, a huge situation for the veteran. Dickinson back to pass, stepping up, pressure, breaks away, close to the sideline. Claremont's got it! Jason Claremont, first down at the 45. 33 seconds left. 36-yard game.
They got plenty of time, just got to get up on the ball. And for a comfort zone, to get a field goal, they got to move it about 15, 20 yards to have it. That's a great play by Jason Claremont. The ball's underthrown. He comes back. He knows what's on the line and fights for it and makes the play.
First down at the 45. Pitch pass. Kelwell breaking tackles, fighting, reaching for the 40. And you have a gain of about 5 on the play with 24 seconds to go.
I mean, they can kick it from right here, but it's going to be a 47, 48-yarder. Ideally, they want to get O'Mani right around a 37-yard range to be in his comfort zone.
Field goal would tie it. Clock now ticking, 19 and counting. Dickinson, straight back, pressure, throwing deep. Catolo, the intended receiver, and it's too far. Omar Morgan was right there, step for step.
I mean, that shocks me. I'm in shock right now because all they needed was 5 yards to get the first down and allow them another chance to move the ball closer. Now with 11 seconds, they got to try the field goal. They absolutely have to try the field goal. Thank you, Wally, for listening to me, by the way.
11 seconds to play. And Duncan O'Mani, who has never kicked a playoff field goal, is pressed into service now with huge pressure.
What did Wally Bono say to us yesterday when we were talking to him after practice? I won't try a field goal to over 40 yards unless it's the last play of the game, and I absolutely need it.
O'Mani good on just 2 of 7 attempts outside the 40. This one will come from the 47-yard line. 11 seconds on the clock. O'Mani for the tie. Hits it hard. It's good! Oh! His first playoff field goal ties the game.
Well, I think the crowd's reaction speaks volumes. That is a pressure kick. It doesn't get any more intense, any more pressure. I'm telling you, Wally wasn't so confident with that one going in. But that's a big kick. There's only 6 seconds left. I would imagine not much is going to happen, and we're going to head into overtime.
Duncan O'Mani, a clutch 47-yard field goal. A kid who started the season 2 for 7 and put his head coach under all kinds of pressure when they said Guano made a mistake with his kicker, but Guano stood by him, and now they've got a tie and life. Burris takes the clock down to 0. We are headed to overtime in the West Division Championship. The Lions and the Roughriders tied at 24. We're headed to overtime. Glenn Johnson with the coin toss for possession. And the Lions win the toss. And here are the rules for overtime, just like the regular season.
Right, team scrimmage at the opponent's 35. You get an equal number of possessions. If the defense scores, game is over. Like interception return, fumble return for a touchdown. Scrimmages continue until we get a winner.
That's right, that's the one difference. This game will not end in a tie. Somebody will go home the champion.
And always thought it was the advantage to the team that went second. I mean, obviously, you know what the other team's done. They've scored a touchdown, you got a 3rd and 10, you got to go for a touchdown.
So Washington winning the toss for BC and said, we'll go on defense first, and let's see what Henry Burris has got. Scrimmaging from the 35-yard line. Once again, the fans trying to make communication tough. Burris flares it out, complete to Kenton Keith, breaks a tackle, pushed out of bounds at the 28-yard line. Gain of 7 on the play. The young man who was rattled by his fumble earlier in the football game.
Yeah, we haven't heard from Kenton since that fumble down near the goal line, but it's a nice job by Burris. They drop back in zone coverage, hit Kenton Keith, he makes someone miss in the open field and picks up 8 yards.
2nd and 3. Henry Burris, an outstanding football game today. And the pressure is ratcheted up again. Here's the blitz. Johnson, Burris, the ball away. It's complete to Kenton Keith for a Saskatchewan first down. What a quick release with Burris about to be sacked.
Johnson again, who's been getting pressure all game, is untouched off the right edge. Burris recognizes it. He hits his short, hot route, which is Kenton Keith being covered by a linebacker, Otis Floyd, and they get the big first down.
Brett Johnson, the Canadian at rush end.
Boy, he's
position normally played by Americans.
Full go this whole football game. What a game he's played.
First down. Roughriders. Burris back, stepping up now, throwing for the end zone, and incomplete. Intended for Corey Grant, but way too far.
Well, there's that seam route by Corey Grant, but this time he's got Bo Lewis covering him, number 17 up the seam. Bo Lewis, for not being a starter in the secondary, is one of the best defensive back that the Lions have.
Corey Grant with the game's first touchdown for Saskatchewan. Couldn't catch up to it. So it'll be 2nd down and 10. Burris with an outstanding afternoon, 1 yard shy of 400. In the silent count. Stepping up, throwing hard. It's complete to Matt Dominguez, and he'll have a Saskatchewan first down. Marcel Belfay.
Wow, what a route by Matt Dominguez on Marsh. Marsh has won his share. Matt Dominguez, watch this. He sells the go route. Marsh is still running deep, and he turns him, and he's wide open. Look, Marsh was 5 yards past him. That's a big play at 2nd and 10 to convert it, and now get the ball down on the 8-yard line.
Big target. Burris 4 for 4. Here we go. First down at the 8. Henry Burris handing off. Kenton Keith goes nowhere. Darren Simpson and Tugbenyo drills him as soon as he got the handoff.
I don't think there's any question about how good this BC Lions run defense is. They have shut Kenton Keith down today. And here again on a big play, they got 3 people all around him, just nowhere to go.
The loss of 2. Moving the ball back to the 10. 2nd and goal.
Now they're back with their empty formation, which just means 6 receivers spread out across the line of scrimmage.
Burris brings Thurman in for protection. Dropping straight back against the blitz. In trouble. It's incomplete. Intended for Corey Holmes. Bo Lewis in to break it up. And so, Burris will go to the sidelines and they'll attempt a field goal.
Even if he makes that catch, it's a 4 or 5 yard route. He was going to get tackled right away, and they would have been forced into a field goal. The key here is he's got the bad angle. McCallum has to hit this one just so they have that 3-point cushion when the Lions go the other way.
Paul McCallum attempting this field goal from the 17-yard line. Make it the 18. Hits it hard and wide.
You know what, Mark? I was thinking that the whole time. He's on that left hash. It's a tough angle. You think 17 yards, chip shot. It's just not the case with that bad angle from the left hash.
Wide from the 18, and this place has erupted. A field goal wins the football game for BC as they get set to go on offense.
Boy, it looks like it goes right down the middle from that replay, but no, it was left. McCallum, one of the few kickers that don't use a tee in the Canadian Football League, sets it right on the ground. He is, I've said all along, he's one of the most clutch kickers in the Canadian Football League. I've seen him hit big kick after big kick, but look here today, a 39-yarder chip shot for him, 18-yarder chip shot. It hasn't cost him the game yet, but it just may.
So now the BC Lions go on offense. O'Mahony with that thrilling 47-yarder. The field goal to force overtime. And they're well within his range now. That's all they need. Dickinson handing off. Warren stuffed.
Well, the key now is of course, don't turn the football over. You turn it over, you blow your chance of winning the football game. But you would like to pick up 1 first down so your field goal is in the 30 range and not 40 and over, where they're a little uncomfortable with O'Mahony. But that being said, he's going to march right out right now, Mark, and try for the game winner.
2nd and 8. The ball right down the middle of the field. And O'Mahony is on the football field.
Here's why you do it on 2nd down. Just in case there's a bad snap, something goes wrong, it's fumbled, you have a chance on 3rd down to tee it up and do it again.
From the 40-yard line for the win in overtime. O'Mahony composes himself. The ball is out, down, kicked, and done! The Lions win! Tough loss to swallow for Henry Burris. What a day for him. Claremont, the kid from Regina. beats his hometown team. The veteran David Benefield looking for one last trip to the cup. And Dave Dickinson coming off the bench. And another come-from-behind win.
Good snap, good hold, and, you know, between the two kickers, you would thought O'Mahony would be the least likely to be the game winner. You know, kick the one to send it into overtime, then kick the one in overtime to win it. You would think Paul McCallum, the veteran, would be that guy, but it didn't work. It worked the other way. McCallum missed his chance. O'Mahony capitalized.
Wally Buono wants no part of the Gatorade shower today.
No, you know what he's saying right now? Let's think about the Grey Cup.
A glory day for Duncan O'Mahony of the BC Lions.
Is that the
40-yard field goal to win it in overtime. Here's Steve.
Duncan O'Mahony, come on in here, sir. Is that the kind of thing you dream about?
I think in the kicker's perspective, yeah, definitely. You want the opportunity to win the game. They gave me the shot. Great snap, good hold. We got the job done.
Which was tougher, the tying field goal or the game winner?
That one was for sure because on our snap down, he snapped on the first side instead of the second, and it caught me off guard. But I still hit it, and, you know, Jason got it on the team. That's all that matters.
Give us some thoughts on going to the Grey Cup in Ottawa.
Well, my first year I went to a Grey Cup and won with Calgary as a punter. This is probably going to be a lot sweeter, getting an opportunity to kick and actually contribute to my team. I'm really looking forward to this opportunity. This is what we work for every year. Hats off Saskatchewan, they're a class act team. You know what, we're going to Ottawa.
Doug, thanks very much. Henry Burris coming over to shake Duncan O'Mahony's hand. It's the BC Lions who will represent the West at the Grey Cup in Ottawa next Sunday.
Final score here at BC Place Stadium. The Lions are going to the Grey Cup, defeating Saskatchewan 27-25. Time for the Warrior of the game, brought to you by Rona. In a losing effort, a brilliant afternoon for quarterback Henry Burris. 28 for 39, 414 yards passing. He ran the ball well, but above all, he showed poise and composure. He did not panic.
Warrior of the game, brought to you by Rona, the how-to people, proudly Canadian.
We talked yesterday with Wally Buono in our pre-game meeting, and I said, come on, O'Mahony's never kicked a field goal in postseason.
Hey, he came through at the time it mattered. This is exciting football. This is what the Canadian Football League is about.
That's what we were saying afterwards, that this is the CFL. When one team all of a sudden came up and you saw them score, the other team responded. Just an emotional roller coaster. What I was impressed, which was touched on by putting Henry Burris as the player of the game, is that just the composure that they had. They did not allow their emotions to get the best of them. They responded. This was an amazing game.
Now, prior to the game, Sean, you talked about it and I did as well. Everyone talked about Saskatchewan's running, and Kenton Keith with, 1,100 yards, and we said, hang on just a minute, Antonio Warren. Warren not only ran today, but had the good hands.
Exactly. Antonio Warren gives you that kind of diversity, the ability to go downfield, as you saw on the great touchdown reception. That's the kind of diversity you get from Antonio. I also want to make a quick note. There's Bo Lewis. He comes in the overtime, makes two big plays to stop Saskatchewan drives, which contributed to the win.
Danny McManus, we talked yesterday again with Wally, and he talked about the different tempo that Dickinson would bring into the game. I mean, Printers is all over the field. We saw some great efforts. Dickinson, very methodical, very quiet. We saw that here.
More like Dr. Dave. I mean, he came in and he was like a surgeon. He came in and did exactly what he needed to do as far as getting his team in points to score scoring zone. The biggest thing with Dave is he's a competitor. He wanted to be on that field. He got the job done today when it needed to.
Greg, you know him well. I don't care what he says. It had to be tough this year. You're the highest paid player, the star in this team. I know he wishes Printers well, but he had to sit back and take a back seat.
Well, it's amazing, Brian, that he's actually in this ball game coming back from a number of different knee surgeries. You know, he's got some sore ribs, all this sort of stuff. He comes in, he is able to come into a game like this, to be able to compete like he did today. Just like Danny was saying, like a surgeon, just kind of completing, making it look easy, change of pace. Dave Dickinson in this game was huge, and it's really impressive to see him come back in this season.
and this is what I really respect about Dave Dickinson. He's one of those guys who's got a lot of heart, and he's got the intelligence to understand that it's a team game. He comes in, plays when he's asked, comes and gives his all. He could easily have come in and just cheated the team by holding a little bit back, but he put it all out there.
Now, last week in Edmonton, you said kickers are wimps. Do you still think that?
Well, hey, Dunk made some great plays today. I got to give it to him.
Mental toughness by Duncan O'Mahony. The West Division West Championship Trophy being presented to David Braley, the owner of the BC Lions, and head coach Wally Buono. We're back at halftime with Wally Buono. There's Bobby Ackles right now, live to Montreal.